So, hello everybody. I hope you all are having a great day. I know that I am. I have been very busy. And for those of you guys, well, there's only a few of you on here just yet. But anyway, I am Demetra K. Normally, I would be sitting here with Donovan, but I don't know where he is. So maybe he'll show up sooner or later. We spoke earlier and he was all aboard, and I don't know. Hopefully, he's okay because it's unlike him to not show up. He wasn't answering his phone either. So I'm sure it's something simple. But anyway, he'll be here shortly. Um, I'd like to say thank you to YouTube and Facebook, the other side of the conversation, for helping us to have this conversation, because you guys are not just viewers, but you are participants as well. Also, we wouldn't want to do it without you anyway. And this is probably one of the only shows that reads each and every comment. I should probably move my microphone over here because we feel like you guys should be heard too, instead of just watching us or me today for right now. Anyway, so it is a brand new year, 2022. I know I did not do anything at all. In fact, I think I was asleep at like 9:30. Tried to get go to sleep before the fireworks took off, but that didn't really work out too well. But anyway, so happy New Year's. So we are going to be having a discussion about resolutions. During the new year, people make resolutions. I'm going to eat better. I'm going to exercise more. They say during January, the first part of January, gym memberships actually shoot up because everybody's now going to the gym. I don't know about now because, the coronavirus is running around. I actually stopped going myself because I just didn't want to risk getting what's out there due to, everything that's going on. But gym memberships go up ordinarily during the beginning of the year. People are going to not procrastinate. They are going to start a new business and they're going to just hit the ground running. And then February comes and people are like, what was I supposed to do again? So, so anyway, a resolution is, and thank you, Marcus. Also, I forgot to thank Marcus for everything he does behind the scenes on Facebook to make the show go further. If you guys are in or somewhere where a link has been placed, click on the link and I would love to read your comment over here on this platform. So anyway, a resolution is like a firm decision. When somebody makes a decision to do something, right? It's a vow. I vow to eat better, starting January 1st. And so we in the Black community obviously have a lot of issues we need to resolve. Therefore, we need to make some resolutions. And so I'm going to need you guys to help me to come up with some. Look at this fool here. I'm going to need you all to help me come up with some resolutions of things that we need to do in the Black community to make us an even better people, right? Starting the beginning of the year, we want to try to do things better. I don't care what it is. It could be politics, diet, mind, state of mind, or Donovan getting here on time. I don't know. You guys tell me. So Donovan, what say you while you are racing home? And please be careful.
What do you mean? This is California. What do you mean racing home? All this damn traffic out here? Anyway, please forgive my lateness. I had to have a meeting with my father, with my nephew's stepfather, who wanted to kind of talk man stuff in regards to this young man about to go into high school and how it's going to take us men to, not that he's a troubled kid, to spend more time and invest more time in him as he's entering into high school. So Black men, we do have these conversations among ourselves, and we do get those type things done.
Beautiful, brother. Beautiful. You will tell us more about it when you get your butt in a chair. Yeah. So anyway, I'll go ahead and read these comments before we get started. So again, we are looking for resolutions to help us as Black people do better, right? In any way, every way, shape, and form. Y'all like my t-shirt? It says, because God said so. The end, right? Period. So let me get to your comments.
God, different. God ain't got to say nothing to say to us. Things are changing. God said that is the lead. That ain't no more. We ain't doing that no more.
Gilberta, how you doing? He says, good evening, Black First Fam. Yes, indeed. And Moni Love, what's going on with you? You say, happy, wonderful New Year, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, Standard Time. Much Detroit love to Demetri and Donovan. Thank you guys for both being beautiful. I think you meant ones, but you said hoes. Donovan might be a hoe. But anyway, say, you say, let's start the new year out with the truth always. Yes,
yeah,
that is the goal. And you also say, did you party, Demetri, Donovan? Did you party? If not, why? If so, did you have fun? It's freezing cold outside and we're buried up to 3 inches of snow. Ooh. No partying
okay, no.
for me.
Why would I party during a pandemic? That is part of the problem. We can't get out of these pandemics.
Yeah, no partying for me. I didn't do anything at all. I went to bed really early, as I usually do. So I'm boring. But what did you do? And yes, it is cold here in Houston. As a matter of fact, it is like 38 degrees outside.
Yeah, all the snow's on the mountains here in the Moreno Valley. So,
Fonda, what's going on with you? Say hello, family. And Tracy, happy new year to you as well. And one who cares, how are you? He says, greetings, Demetri, Donovan in chat. Happy second day of the new year. Yes, indeed. But you know, it kind of sucks because Max Julian died yesterday on his birthday, as a matter of fact. Max Julian being the Mac. I'm like, okay, 2022. For real? But anyway, I digress. Hello, Mr. Pirate Brain. How are you? And Ronald, what's going on with you? You say Happy New Year, young lady. Well, I appreciate the young lady part. And H. McDaniel, how are you? You say Happy January 2nd, 2022 to all. Yes, indeed. And Fight for Black, how are you? Said just another turn of the new year. Yeah, some people could look at it that way, like, it's whatever. And Mr. Pirate Brain says, your hair looks nice, Demetri. I appreciate that. Thank you. And Thunder says he probably back in the DR. He's probably back in the DR with Maria, the one with the afro. I eat Poppy. As you can see, he's not. He's in smoggy Southern California. Easy, how are you? And Moni says, make sure you got your school teacher look. What's your hair down? I think you meant with your hair down, warm sweater. I'm missing the raspberry lipstick. Please start back wearing it. It's beautiful. One day I'll wear it just for you, Moni, I promise. And Carmen, how are you? You say peace and blessings, Demetri. Happy New Year. Yes. Anita, hello, how are you? You say greetings, Demetri and fam. And Don, you say, Demetri, did you finally get sick of Donovan and he's in your closet with 99 stab wounds? Not yet. And it would be 100 if it was me, okay? And Honeydew, long time no see. How are you? You say good evening, Demetri, in chat. Donovan, what you got to say?
Oh, I was saying as I'm driving home, we're all talking about the cold. I just want a question for some of you guys that are out there. I'm seeing like the homeless. It is so cold out here, even in my house. I've got to like turn the thermostat on. These people are out here. They're not even in tents. They're like got a bunch of clothes and they've like piled the clothes and they sweep underneath the clothes. Are you guys having the same issues in some of your cities?
I don't get out much, but I do see homeless people here and there in Houston, but I would imagine it is horrible to have to live in that condition. Hopefully people are going to open up churches, buildings, more homeless shelters, because there's going to be a lot of more homeless people. And that's another thing we need to resolve or actually make a resolution in our community, because Black people are the number one population of homeless people. And there's going to be more and more homeless people due to what we've been going through the last couple of years. And so let's see what we can do about that. And Monet, how you doing? Five for Black, he said, it's warm where Donovan is. I think he's in the 50s? You're in the 50s? Well, you'll tell us about it when you get in the house. And then let's see, honey, do you say, be careful, Donovan. Shout out to the family. Yes, indeed. And Mona says, Demetri, the numbers have went up in Michigan so high that they're going back to shutting schools down because our numbers are averaging now 12,000 or better cases of the virus. Damn. I think they said here in Houston, like 1 in every 4 people are coming down with the virus. So yeah, that's not good. And Easy says, Donovan, you know you're coming back from Michigan. Who you fooling? Right, exactly. Do tell, Donovan. And Gilberta says, yes, love the shirt. as a Black community, we need to be more mindful of each other's opinions in order to come to a resolution of the issue. So I agree with that. We need to listen to each other more. We don't do that well at all. All we do is talk, talk, talk. And I think one of the main problems is, especially in our community, we want to all be leaders and no one wants to follow, which is why we have all of these blueprints all the way back from Marcus Garvey that no one wants to follow, right? Because we have a problem listening to each other for some reason. Y'all tell me why. And let's see here. And Fight for Black, you say, Demetra, everyone's resolution for 2022 should be concentrating and putting into effect our picks for congressional, state, and local representation, a resolution of power. So I 135%, why the 35%? I don't know, agree with you on that, because as we know, the midterm elections are coming up, and guess whose door they're going to be knocking on? Our doors. Hey, I'm here with a fresh batch of biscuits, and guess whose vote I need? That's what they're going to do to us, right? Even though they have completely just thumbed their nose at us, they have showed us their behinds. And, you know, Biden and Kamala just like, listen, we're getting the lead out of the pipes in your communities. What else do you want, right? So you're absolutely right. Diane say, hey, Demetra and Donovan, we made it. Another 12 months. Resolution is to get ready, stay ready. 360. How about 365? But or unless you meant, you know, all the way around. But yes, I totally agree with you on that. We have to get ready. And whatever that means to you, get ready, right? I was in the store not too long ago and I was like, should I buy some more toilet paper and tissue? Like, is like something gonna go down? Like, do I need to like get more of everything? Because we do need to stay ready. So I agree with you. And honey, do you say I did go to a house party, 8 people or so? Okay. So I mean, I'm assuming you knew those people, but hey, that's your business. That's your business. Cece, how you doing? You says I'm boring too. Apparently, yeah. I mean, I'm boring. I'm not gonna make any excuses. Going out is not something I really like to do much. Because there's a lot of cuckoo people out there. You don't know what's on everybody's agenda and on their mind, right? So boring is cool sometimes. And one who cares, she says, I know, right, the Mac is gone. Yes, never imagined that Max Julian would be gone, but he is so iconic. The Mac is one of my favorite movies ever. And so, Honeydew, thank you so much for the donation. I really appreciate that. And let's see here. Moni says, when the year of the tiger in Chinese astrology starts February 1st, it will be the water tiger. Is going to shake up a lot of things unexpected. My New Year's resolution is moving in spring. Yes. You know what? Just make a plan and execute it, and you'll be able to move. And I want that for you because I know what you are going through. Honeydew says, Donovan in the DR with a 6-footer lady. He wishes. And Thunder says, is Don wearing a leather jacket looking like he just left the stroll checking on his stable? I don't know. He said he was with family, so we have to take his word for it. And Anita says, yes, I've seen it here. The homeless situation is getting bad here. Yeah, it is. I mean, and it's going to get worse, and it's going to be mostly us out there because we are just not prepared. We need some resolutions. And Thunder says it's going to get even colder in Houston. So I hear. I mean, I'm telling y'all, I stepped outside in a regular, blue jean jacket and thought I was just going to go to the store real quick. I wasn't out there more than 3 seconds before I turned around and put on my big coat. I was like, okay, it's going down. And Sylvia, how you doing? Says, hey fam, happy new year. And Gilberto says, yes, in Georgia, we have the same issue, which is why I can't understand why low income housing can't be constructed. Well, they're saying that they are going to be constructing low income housing. I know specifically in Los Angeles, Santa Monica area, they are going to be making low income housing. Actually, it's supposed to be some sort of reparations for Black people in the 1950s who had their neighborhoods bulldozed. I think it was called the Pico neighborhood. Their neighborhoods were bulldozed. And so the city of Santa Monica said, well, descendants and Black people who are still here, we're going to give you some low income housing for what we did to you. It's like, nah, we want a house for free. Okay. But yes, a lot of cities are going to be doing low income housing, but we need them right now. Right. And Monet says yesterday it was 74 degrees with a high winds and tornado warning today. Rain and sleet is snowing right now in Kentucky, or at least in the Bowling Green. Yeah. So that's how it was here yesterday. It was warm, like 80, I think it was, and all of a sudden it's just freezing. Hey, Sunlight, how you doing? He says happy, hello family, happy New Year, and the same to you as well. And Gavetta says because you stated, evil one was to be the chief. He says, I'm sorry, everyone. I was like, evil one. Everyone got it. Wants to be the chief. Yeah, I mean, nobody wants to follow. I know what let me do it. It's like, you don't know what you're doing. Let somebody else who knows what they're doing come and take the reins, right? And so, Thunder, you say the other problem is in the community is that gentrification. Have you driven around downtown and or around town rather, and seen all of the townhouses? Yes, and the townhouses are in areas like our areas, right? When I say our areas where Black people predominantly live, they're putting these high-rise, expensive apartment buildings. Where I'm from in California, the downtown areas where the most concentration of Black people live. Yeah. And they're putting up these townhouses like $3,000 for like a 1-bedroom. So what does that do to the rest of the neighborhood? It jacks up the housing, because people who are renting their house are like, well, shit, y'all getting that kind of money for an apartment. Guess what I'm going to do? Especially in California, there is no rent control, so they can raise the rent however often they want.
Yeah, but but it also goes to show you that the greed is good mentality. Just because I know people that had steady renters for 15, 10 years. You got this renter that doesn't give you any problems. They've been there for 10, 15 years, paying, faithfully, and all because of greed. Now you want to put that person out because they really can't afford to pay more money. And you're just, getting rid of good tenants and people who really are good tenants because you want more money.
Yeah. And that's what they do, unfortunately, to people, and what can you do about it? Right. And Sunlight says, yes, indeed, Demetri, another January at the gym when all the newbies take up all the space. Yeah, so I really wouldn't want to be in the midst of that anyway, because, it's bad enough going when it's not packed, but when everybody's made a resolution to get, their self in shape, especially during this time, I just personally wouldn't want to risk it. So I work out at home. I'm actually in the process of trying to figure out the best set of weights to get, because I'm just going to start doing it at home. And honey,
yeah, I saw that dollar store weight set that you put up on Facebook.
You see what I posted? I pasted together.
No,
I pieced it together. Next, I'm gonna give me 2-gallon water jugs. And Honeydew says, by the way, Demetri, great show with Phil last week. I tried to put my donation in today. Yes, unfortunately, I had to wait until I got paid again, but I owe you right now. Well, I appreciate that. And thank you for that show. Of course, as Honeydew said, we at the African Diaspora News Channel are in the midst of a fundraiser. We are fundraising to help, to keep the channel up and going. Not that it's going anywhere, but every little bit helps. We know that Black media does not get the support that regular mainstream media gets, and even some of the Black media outlets that aren't really for us. And so we are asking that you guys go check out that GoFundMe and donate whatever you can. We love and appreciate you for it. Thunder says, yes, get your supplies while you can. If you can afford it, not make plans with friends and family. Yeah, I mean, you never know what's going to go on. Now they say, well, I'm in Texas, so I don't think they're going to be shutting anything down. But you never know, right? I mean, it's really bad out there. I'll tell you guys what, my daughter, she flew to California to celebrate her birthday, rented a cabin up in the mountains, and all of that. And she had like 6, 7, 8 friends who were supposed to go. Do y'all know all but 2, her and her cousin, everybody else tested positive for COVID. And so it was just her and her cousin in the mountains by themselves all weekend because the other ones couldn't go because they caught COVID. So it's bad. And Easy says, Donovan, your cowgirl's not doing good. Arizona putting that thing on them. And Honeydew says, Donovan on the stroll talking about where's my bitch ass. Hollywood Shuffle. Robin, how you doing?
No, actually, it's more like AMG, bitch better have my money.
Robin, how you doing? He says, good evening, happy new year. And we need to do better 2021. How are you doing? He says, oh man, you're looking good, girl. Please keep up the good work. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. And Honeydew, he says, yes, yes. Y'all, happy new years. Yes, indeed. And Al, how are you? You say resolution for mental health, example, Antonio Brown. So as you guys may or may not have heard, Antonio Brown. Don, have you heard about Antonio Brown today?
No, I've been out of pocket all day. What happened to Antonio Brown?
Antonio Brown, he plays for what? Oh shoot, I forget who he plays with.
Tampa Bay,
I guess. Well, he got mad about something as he was standing on the sideline and pulled off his clothes, everything but his, bottoms and his shoes. And one of the players tried to calm him down, but they couldn't calm him down. So he snatched off his jersey and his pads and threw his gloves and stuff into the crowd. And he, walks across the end zone and he leaves. And so Tampa Bay was like, well, he is no longer on the roster and he cannot fly back with us. And no, he cannot catch the bus to the airport with us. He is done. And so,
okay, as somebody who just heard this, I'm going to say this: everywhere that this man's gone, he needs a psych eval, or there's something wrong with him. Because again, I'm not like, if he has a mental condition, I'm not making fun of that. But let's just be clear, you guys. He was in Pittsburgh. He had a problem. He was in Vegas, LA Raiders, whatever you want to call it, Vegas Raiders, whatever, Oakland Raiders. He had a problem. Now he gets over here, he has a problem. And then if you saw that press conference a couple of days ago, he was talking about, oh, well, the media, y'all are drama, whatever. The media does not create drama. They cannot write about you if you're not doing it yourself. So these antics that you said that happened today, that's him. He's having a mental break. He wouldn't have got ratted out about his COVID case if he had paid the person the money. So all of this stuff that's around him, and this is what I don't understand, as talented as this man is, how do you come, and it's so sad, most of our stories are like this, you guys. Most of our stories are, I come from a poor, impoverished background, and I worked my way to the top. Then you get there, and you continue to just destroy yourself. After getting there, this man has a record of not even wanting to pay the people who provide services to him. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. Then I think that's why Al said mental health, because clearly something is going on with him. I mean, unless he's just a, first class a-hole, he could be. But, he said in the past that he, was contemplating suicide, and another teammate from when he played in college talked him out of it and things like that. So clearly he's got a mental issue. I mean, you're just not going to keep on messing up good opportunities like that. And like you said, he's been to so many teams and let go. And so who's really going to sign him at this point, So I don't know. And again, if you guys are watching this on Facebook and you want me to see your comment, click on the link. And Gilberto says, absolutely, Donovan, greed is sinful. Hashtag, I'm just saying. News from the edge. Mine says, sorry for being late, y'all, but I had to take a meeting with my nephew, stepdad. Great meeting of the minds. You'll tell us more about that, I'm sure. And Thunder, you say, 5th Ward, 3rd Ward, set to gas, sunny side. We need to get our money right to stock profit from it. He says, damn shame, Big Mama and Pawpaw worked so hard just for it to go up in smoke, shaking my head. Yeah, I actually saw an article on NPR, and they were talking about how Black people are selling, grandma's house. We're selling grandma and grandpa's house, to get the cash out to go trick it off, instead of saying, well, for one, we need a family home. And if we sell the house, there goes the neighborhood. Because if you're my age, Donovan's age, well, he's a lot older than me, but if you're our age, our grandmothers are probably gone, right? And so they were probably the last people standing on that block. And if we sell it, then what? Then we're going to cry about gentrification and we don't have nowhere to go. Well, you keep selling grandma's house to go to the Bahamas with the money.
Yeah, here in California, Mexicans are buying up whole neighborhoods and putting their family members in these individual homes.
And that's what they're supposed to do. They're like, okay, well, y'all don't want it, we'll get it, right? And so, And CC says they're not shutting anything down. They're just going to blame and persecute the unvaxxed. Yeah, I don't see them doing it. And Joe Biden said he is not interested. He said this a while back. He's not interested in shutting anything down, but he also said, "Oh, I'm going to get a hold of it. In the first year, we're gonna take control of it, and here it is, out of control." So, and Honeydew says, "No, what happened with Antonio now? I think he's from South Florida. Yeah, clearly something is wrong. And like Donovan said, it's not to make fun of him or anything like that, but he needs some help because we've heard and seen a lot of cases where people are acting out and people are just dismissing them as unruly or just difficult. But it's like he's probably got a little bit something more going on, I would think.
But what's really sad about that too, real quick, I know we got to get to the comments.
No, go ahead.
Is regardless of this man having these incidences, think about the owners that on the plantation, because he is on the plantation, that are exploiting him. They don't care what kind of mental break he's got. They're going to use his talent so that they could make billions of dollars and get a Super Bowl and all this other stuff. They could care less that this man needs help. But yet they have no problem exploiting this man's talent. And that's what happens to us as Black people. The Democratic Party has no problem exploiting us to vote. Notice, I don't know if you guys were listening to my podcast yesterday. This is what I talked about. Does the Black vote matter? Isn't it funny that they've passed everything that they wanted to pass? Everything they wanted to pass. Do you really think the Democrats give a damn if they lose the House or the Senate next year or this year? They don't even care because everything they wanted to do, they've passed. Now they can throw it to the Republicans and say, see, they're obstructing. And again, we're just going to sit there and blame the Republicans when the Democrats can do anything and everything they want to do right now.
That's a good point. JJ, how you doing? He says, Happy New Year, everyone. Yes, indeed. And Easy says, how many chances can you give a person? He's a problem child. Yeah. I mean, and then, Kaepernick can't get back into the league because he's problematic, quote unquote, because he, is bringing awareness to police brutality. But yet they keep giving this dude, a copious amount of times to just come in and do the most. So it's like, what's really going on here? We already know the answer to that. And Moni says, finally, my sexy, handsome brown sugar Donovan is back on. Look at you. I think of the beautiful snowflakes that could be okay. Just the thought of having you in Michigan while it's cold. Woo!
Wait a minute. I just flew in from Michigan. What are you talking about, Moni?
And Hubert, how are you? Long time no see. He says, Happy New Year, fam. Yes, indeed. And Honeydew says, I don't know, whenever you're dealing with a high level white supremacist, my heart tells me many things. Yes, indeed. And Randy, how are you? He says, sorry, I'm late. Miss Demetra, Donovan, and fam, Happy New Year. You are right on time. And Happy New Year to you as well. And Easy says, he's done with football. No one will touch him again. I agree with you. I think he's done. I can't think of anybody else who would really want to work with him. And then, I think it's awesome that the team was like, no, you're not flying back with us. You can't sit with us. Get your own way back home since you showed your butt on the field and did all of that. Then you going to get your own plane and do what you need to do. Otherwise, you stuck here. I'm sure
and they always say this, as you're ascending the ladder of success, unfortunately, you have to leave some people behind that might be detrimental to that success or that mindset. So if you come from 70% of Black people come from a poor environment, in general, 70% of us below, at, or just above the poverty line. You have to leave some of those friends behind. So if you've been hanging out with gang members, you can't go to Hollywood and talking about, I'm still going to kick it with my friends. It's just not going to work. Eventually, that person's going to bring you down. Look what happened to Michael Vick. He didn't get convicted because they caught him dogfighting. It was his cousins and his friends. That's how he got caught. A lot of people that get caught, especially from our community, they don't get caught of their own fruition. They get caught because of the people that are around them.
You better believe it. And let's see. Gilberto, he says, we have been trying to throw a surprise birthday party for the matriarch of our family for 2 years. Turned 92 years ago. Wow. It says we had over 100 people coming. This COVID had just messed up everything. Yeah, and that's true for a lot of people. I mean, this will be coming up this April, my 3rd year in the pandemic, as a birthday, not really being able to do anything. Not that I would anyway, but yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate, but people aren't going to do right, and this thing will be here forever, unfortunately. But yeah, I wouldn't have it, to protect your
Yeah, I honestly
your
think this
matriarch,
pandemic is the new normal. This is going to be the new normal.
which sucks. Hey, brother Joe, now how you doing? He says, peace, queen, brother Donovan, and fam. And Gilberto says, you better say it, Donovan. I've seen the changes in the community I'm in, and I live out of the country. And Randy says, it's the land is where power comes from. Ramona says, it would be interesting in the Chinese terms of their government took an interest in the Black community and start doing things to help us. Watch out, quick, the demons would step up. He says, so watch how quick. I think he meant the demons would step up.
Well, the Chinese are doing stuff for Black people. Look at what they're doing to Africa. They're going to make sure Africa is re-enslaved. They're doing a lot for Black people.
Right. They're not going to help Black people because they are coming to pass Black people up. And they're well on their way to do that. When I say they, I actually mean Asians, but China ain't trying to come help no Negroes. What they don't like. Why do they need to do that? What would be in it for them? Even though they did say America needs to mind its business and deal with the inhumane treatment that they do to Black people and stay out of their business, but that's probably as far as it's going to go.
Yeah, and then again, if Asians had any fairness within them and care for the Black community, why did they advocate that they got a bill from the Democrats and we didn't get one? Where's their outrage? Where's their outrage? Well, we got ours now, so y'all need to take care of these Black people. Yeah,
right. Like, while you're giving us ours, can you get theirs too, since they were here first, kind of? And Honeydew says, was that pay? You always gonna make your you face the wall as some. He says, I think he meant white supremacy, that pay you always going to make you face the wall at some period. Yeah, your mind ain't right out the gate. And where he's from have much anguish, but because he has access to millions, we expect more. Yeah, I mean, I guess I hear where you're going with that. We expect more. But to me, and I was having this conversation earlier, I think having money and you got issues like that makes it worse, because you surround yourself and you buy yourself a lot of yes people who are not going to tell you no, because they're afraid of getting cut off. So they're going to see you acting up and doing crazy things like, well, I will say something, but
yeah, I mean, a good example of that, Whitney Houston and her support system that was around her. She employed her family members, and look how they did her. Allen Iverson, look at all the people that he had that did him. Look at MC Hammer. Look at all the people that he tried to help that did him. Now, when he was in the dirt, did they, it's just so prevalent that we have so many parasites within our community.
Yeah. And so for those of you guys that came on here, we are looking for resolutions that we in the Black community need to make us better. And Anna, how you doing? You said,
I have a resolution to make us great and make us a better people. Would you like to hear it?
I'm scared.
Well, you want to hear it? Here you go. We need to leave. Let's get out of here. Let's go.
I feel you. And Anna, you says, keep the mind weak, keep the body strong. Yes, indeed. And that's exactly what we see there, especially with Antonio Brown. And Sunlight says, when we sell, we need to sell to one of us. That's what others do. Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of people, including the Bushes, they had clauses in their deeds like, don't sell to no Negroes, So yeah, you're right. We need to say, okay, we got to do it. Make sure it's one of us. We can do that, right?
Right. But see, here's the thing. Here we come from all these big families, right? We have all these big families. And here's one of the biggest problems, I think. And I've noticed, especially I come from a very big family. My mom is the oldest of 12. My dad is the second oldest of 22. No outside children, same mother, same father. Okay. So I have a lot of big family. But what I noticed when there's strife in the family, and not in all cases, but in some cases, it's when the people that they marry from the outside come in and then they influence about what they want to do for their children, whatever. And so the dynamic is, and it's survival of the fittest. So you got that person you married that isn't really part of the family. They married into the family. They're trying to make sure that their branch gets their piece of the pie. And that causes a lot of problems within families when it comes to property, especially.
I could see that. And Robin, He said if he was white, his mental health and temper tantrums wouldn't even be a conversation. They'll just make up an excuse for him. Absolutely.
Robin, do you remember that football player that jumped on that sister and they said, oh, he had a mental break and that's why he choked her out and beat her up? Remember that, Demetra, that football player?
Yeah, you don't even hear anything else about it. I'm sure he's running around playing still. And Gavetta says there's a lot of people that need mental evaluation. It's just like a parent knows when something is going on with their child, but they think they will grow out of it. Yes, indeed. I don't think he's going to grow out of that. I think that's who he is. And Martin says in Michigan is having more of a stronger effect of wanting to shut down starting on Monday. Schools will not be open. They'll going to do viral because the cases have went up beyond 13,000 per day. Damn. And Anastasia, you're on YouTube. So I did see that comment. And Sunlight says, of course, they reward or give buffoons a pass. Yes. And Jonelle says the profit is never in the cure. The money is in the treatment. This nation profits and exploits the masses' health. It's evident with every disease. And now they got a pill with a chip in it. You are your first doctor. Check your diet. Yep. I 100% agree with you. We can really help ourselves by watching what we put in our bodies. Stay away. We should resolve as Black people to stay away from processed foods. I know they're easy and they're convenient and things like that, but if you ever just look at the ingredients of Donovan, listen, I'm just speaking, okay? If you ever look on the ingredients of processed foods, like they said, if you can't read the ingredients, then they shouldn't go in your body. If you can't read it or pronounce it, you shouldn't put it in your body.
Yeah.
So we should be more careful of that. But yes, diet is important. Gavetta says the key word, Donovan, is mindset. And Mona says, let's give a shout out to the Bishop Desmond Tutu. Yes. And we should have actually mentioned that. So forgive me, Bishop Desmond Tutu that lost his life last week. Nobody is speaking on. Not to mention LL Cool J couldn't do the New Year's concert because of the virus. So he has the virus as well. But yes, we lost Desmond, Bishop Desmond Tutu couple of days ago, was it?
Yeah, it was a couple of days ago. But here's my thing on Desmond Tutu. And again,
watch it, sucker.
No. What happened over there is the same thing that happens over here. That shows you how we are strongly related to Africa, and what happens in Africa affects us here. But when Desmond Tutu was the head of the reconciliation situation in South Africa, which let a lot of white murderers off the hook in regards to apartheid fighters being killed. Steve Biko. I mean, you can go on and on and on and on. And all these people had to do, and some of them didn't even show up when they were asked to show up. And they still got off the hook, and they basically got away with the murder for free. And Desmond Tutu, being a archbishop and Christian, he was all about the forgiveness shit. But how do you say that to the families that lost those loved ones? It's really sad. I think that was a big mistake of his, and one of his legacies that they really don't like to talk about. They talk about the stuff that he did before that, but it's just amazing to me how a man who fought apartheid eventually helped forgive it.
And there you have it. But yes, rest in peace to Desmond Tutu. We actually had an opportunity to see his house when we were in Soweto. Him and Mandela, their houses were across the street from each other. For whatever reason. And Sunlight says below, at, or above, that's 100%. I'm just saying. And Anastasia says, Donovan knows, just like I do, a lot of military kids get in trouble vicariously through their friends, quote unquote. And Thunder, you say most of the time they trick off the money instead of thinking about, I'm not paying rent or mortgage, and I can pass this time blessing on to my future generations. Think of it as an extra $1,500 a month. Nah, I want the money right now. I'm gonna sell it. Me and my wife or my husband, we going to the Bahamas. We gonna, get a car we ain't gonna be able to keep because we don't see the value in keeping that property.
And you know what's sad? The new SoFi Stadium that's in South Central Los Angeles, they were buying out people for $250,000. If those people had stayed on the property, you could have got way over $2-3 million if you stuck to your guns and stayed on the property.
And now the property that is still there is astronomical, and our people are getting displaced due to the gentrification and not being able to stay there. So it's very sad. And Moni says, Donovan, can you leave a link for your podcast that I might sign up and send you some shout outs from time to time? Happy, wonderful new year. I hope it will be great for you. And I wish you great healing. I put Donovan's information in the description box if you guys want to follow him.
Yeah. And usually if you want to see my podcast, I do share it on my Facebook page. So just put in Donovan Sadiq and you're going to, the podcast is usually there. So you could do it or go to my YouTube channel. It's archived right there.
Yes, indeed. And Kubler, how you doing? Long time no see. So you say, so what is exactly on the Black agenda for 2022? Well, I say one of the main things that need to be on the Black agenda is to get these politicians out that are up for re-election during the midterms. We know we are predominantly voting Democrat in every election for the last, 100 years now? I don't know, maybe, give or take. And so I think that needs to be on the agenda, that we hold our vote until we get something for it. And if the Republicans got to come back and take over, so be it. But we should not deliver the Democrats anything else because they haven't delivered us anything specifically. So I think that should be one of the main things, because we're never going to get reparations or anything, no justice bills passed or any of that other stuff, as long as we keep just giving it to them.
Well, see, Dimitri, you don't understand how politics works. See, politics works like this. We need a majority. So what we got to do is you got to go and vote. And so we have more of us up in there. And then by having the numbers, we could go ahead and do the agenda. Didn't we tell y'all if y'all get out the streets, we would get you qualified immunity? Didn't we tell y'all? Well, we got it. The world is looking at us. We going to get you qualified immunity for those bad policemen. Oops, 9 months passed. We tried.
In fact, Jim Clyburn says, well, I'm willing to bend on the qualified immunity part of the infrastructure bill to get it passed. So he was like, Negroes, you're going to get screwed over again so everybody else could get something. So, and CC says the pestilence is the new normal. They said this pestilence rather is the new normal. It's biblical, more plagues to come. Yes, if you follow the Bible, you would one would believe that there are more plagues to come. And Isa says they only like our money. Yes. And Anita says, real talk, Donovan, about Africa. They offer opportunities, quote unquote, to them, but it's really to benefit them. And it doesn't help that the government keeps selling them out. Yeah. How in the hell do you have a Chinese woman sitting on the parliament in South Africa? How in the hell? Do you think there's some Negroes sitting on the parliament or whatever they got over there in China? I don't think so.
But you got to remember, Black people, we're so inclusive. Like my mom always says, we are always standing up for everybody else. That's just our nature.
You're going to get a whooping when she see you for mimicking her. Don't you be mocking your mama. And Moni says, oh, well, you didn't make it known. You didn't party like a rock star. Dramatics was here performing like they do most years. Spend time in the cold weather. How about it, Donovan?
We meet every day at our sweet cafe, 2:30.
I cannot stand you. Tawanda, how you doing? You say, let's go. That's the only way. Yeah, get the hell up out of here. There's a lot of people actually leaving. Anita went over and got her dual citizenship. So she was like, I can leave when I want to. NCA Latre, how are you doing? Long time no see. And JJ says, I agree. We do need to leave America. Yes, Marcus Garvey has been, and Marcus Guyton on here has been telling us that forever. Let's go. Get out of here. There's nothing left for us. Even back in the 1920s, we were being told that, right? And Robin says, yes. And Gavetta says, stop voting Democrat or Republican just because the family has been doing for years.
It's called recovery and therapy. That's why I'm the recovering Democrat. I realized that years ago.
Yes, indeed. And a lot of people are voting. Well, my mama, she's been voting that way. My grandmama, my grandfather, everybody, we all Democrats. And that's the way we do it.
Mama, I just told this boy to vote Biden and he voted. Remember that?
Yeah.
Oh, God. Yeah. That mom went in on that boy.
Anastasia says, this is cyclic. I'm like, that wasn't saying what I was reading. Cyclic, because loss of land happened during Reconstruction and during the Great Migration. And in the Mixed Radio, how you doing? You said Phil Scott did a story about a drug that they pass out based on race. Yeah, sounds like in New York, they were telling white people to stay away from it, don't take it. And so, he was like, yeah, y'all better wake up. If it's something that's really just for you, why? Why is that just for you? Look it up. It was, I guess it was something that was leaked, the memo that was leaked, saying that it wasn't for white people. Well, who is it for? And why is it just for us? And Anastasia says, I'm not interested in picking up crumbs of compassion thrown from the tables of someone who considers himself my master. I want the full menu of rice, Desmond Tutu. So, yes, RIP to him. And Moni says, but I do say if they now that the numbers are going up, what I don't like about number 46 is I come as no talk about stimulus checks. I don't know about you, but I could go for another four, at least those. I guess you can go for some more.
Another 4 of those at least.
Got it.
Oh, and by the way, since we're talking about 46, since we're talking about Mr. Biden and Kamala Harris, let's not forget Kamala Harris. How many of you guys know that the child tax credit stops tomorrow? So all of you women that were getting that child tax credit, since, the Democrats did all this stuff like that, it stops tomorrow.
Ain't that something? But this is still raging forward, right? And Tawani says, Fantasia has COVID-19. Wow. Yeah, a lot of people are getting it, but I just think it would behoove people to stay home as much as possible. I mean, I get it. We've all been essentially stuck in the house for 3 years at this point, but what are you going to do? And in the mix of radio, if I didn't already, hello, he says, the hell with Tutu. And Robert says, Black folks grieving too hard over the death of Betty White to care about Desmond Tutu. Excuse them.
Wow, that's a little truth there.
Well, I want to say this because I've seen people post memes of what's the name? Oh gosh, what's the name of that stupid movie? Django. Where Samuel Jackson's character is hugging Big Daddy. Well, they put a head of Betty White on there and saying this is Black people. I'm just more or less like, okay, you know what? I'm kind of getting sick of it. The narrative that we can only talk about Black people because you know what? And Robin, by any means, I'm not saying this about you, but we only bring up the comparison when somebody Black or somebody white dies. Oh, y'all said something about Betty White, but you didn't say nothing about Desmond Tutu. But, up until the time that Desmond Tutu died, Black people wasn't saying nothing still, right? And so, I don't know. I think sometimes we should be able to do both. And if you know the history of Betty White, she actually sacrificed her career in the 1950s because they wanted to do a brother dirty. And she says, nah, they wanted to kick him off the set. And she said, no, he stays. And they tanked her show after that. So before we get on the bandwagon of hating somebody, we need to really figure out what they're about. But regardless, I mean, who didn't watch an episode of the Golden Girls? And
Mary Tyler Moore, you modern women, Mary Tyler Moore, she was a cast member of that.
She's been around forever. She's acted for over 80 years. And so I just kind of find it weird that we always I don't know about y'all, but I'm tired of being angry, the angry Black person over everything. Like, can we just pick a struggle and pick something solid to really be mad about? Like, we really gonna waste time talking about what y'all talking about Betty White, but you ain't saying about Desmond Tutu. Somebody said, well, they didn't say nothing about Max Julien. It was like Max Julien didn't have the career that Betty White had. And you'd have to be a real one to even really know about Max Julien. I'm just saying.
Yeah, once pimping became ostracized because the so-called most Black men were, living off of that. Come to find out, the biggest pimp in the world is a Caucasian man.
And Jonah says 2022, we should get more in tune with the God within ourselves and face the reality in which we have been birthed and study the reality in which we have been birthed and not the false narratives of reality in which our colonizers project upon us. Come out of every form of white imagination, emotion, and self-improvement and self-awareness. Our praise is due to Allah. Yes, indeed. And Anastasia says, but Mandela and Muhammad Ali did the same turnaround. Once they are old, beat down, and tired, that's when they want to shame us with them.
Well, let me say this. I agree with you, Anastasia. Now, like John Lewis, He joined the oppressor. Who else? Bobby Seale. I mean, all of them, when they get a certain age and they say, you know what, I don't know what it is. It's like they lose their fire to be agitating to the system. But okay, I'm gonna talk to you guys as a military man. You don't join the opposition and help them more than you did as an outsider. That's one thing you don't do. If you just fed up with the system, don't join it.
Yes, indeed. In all fairness, I didn't post about, Betty White, if that makes you guys feel better. I didn't post about it, but I think it's very sad that she is gone. But hell, she was a 99, about to be 100. She wasn't going to live forever, right? Anyway, easy. He says, if this country would have remained shut down, the pandemic would be controlled. New cases would be up for discussion, but capitalism means more than life. There you go. And Thunder says the U.S. uses the same excuse to invade other countries. Hey, look, they are mistreating those poor people. Let's help and invade and liberate these folks over there. Overthrow the government. This is the same play, but yet they doing the same stuff to people over here.
Yeah, and you know what, Thunder? You bring up a good point, because where are all these feminists that were talking about all the poor Afghan women that can't go to school and the little girls and how they're just being dogged out? Why are they so silent all of a sudden now that the Taliban has come back and has basically kicked them out of schools and reverted back to what they were doing? What happened to the feminism?
They're on vacation. And Anita says, Lord, it's the Clyburn voice for me. And Morning says, I didn't mean it like that, Donovan. What I meant is a strategy, because we already know they are totally screwed up in Africa beyond 100%. Since they don't care, USA is, if they spent more money in Black communities. And in the mixed radio, it says we need to stop giving the Democrats Biden give executive orders for Asians, Pacific Islanders, Afghans, Native Americans, Latinos, Puerto Ricans, and Mexicans. And not anywhere in your thing did I see Black people. So you're absolutely right.
How many of you guys heard that Jim Clyburn authored? He not only sponsored, but he authored a bill that gave Native Indian tribe $6 billion. $6 billion. Did it pass through the House? It did, and they quietly signed it on Joe Biden's desk. He gave them $6 billion on top of the money that was already given to them that was supposed to be for us earlier the year, that they bragged about that. Nancy Pelosi and then passed that Native Indian Act, whatever it was. They gave him all that kind of money. So they gave him $6 billion more. But we got to vote Democrat.
Exactly. And Robin, you say South Carolina, please sit Jim Crow Clyburn down. Yeah, and he's into his 80s. And Morning says the reason
83 years old. He's 83 years old.
Yeah. So, and Morning says the reason why I say it was just thinking as strategy. If Asians started investing in a lot of Black communities, you would see how whites would really have to step up the game up. That was just a thought. Well, Asians, I think they are white people. And, and for some cases, white people include Asians as one of them. And so they're going to work in tandem to get rid of Black people. And whether we believe it or not, we're already seeing that manifest.
Yeah, Moni, if you, here in California, Asians do invest in Black communities highly. They are usually the landlord or whatever, and they're gentrifying those Negroes up out of there. And they're quick to evict a Black person when they can't pay their rent. So you got to remember, Asians are honorary white people. That's why they got an Asian crime bill. That's why they got their bill and their protection.
Yes, indeed. And Kubler says, random, now that UFOs have been declassified, how am I supposed to interact with the alien conspirators now that they are sitting extremely high on their I told you so throne? Laugh out loud. Yeah, I saw an article saying that with everything that's been going on, we completely missed the conversation that there are aliens. They have said, yes, there are some other things running around here. In the mixed radio, it says other groups need to hold their own nuts. Yes, indeed. And you say hello. And Biden, you also say Joe Biden is 3 times worse than Trump. Hey, listen, we tried to tell him, didn't we? And they was like, nah, we got to get Trump out of there. Anything's better than Trump. Vote blue no matter who. And,
well, the funny thing is, it was our parents' generation that was offended by the way Trump talked. They didn't like the way he talked. Because when you ask them about policy and stuff, they can't tell you nothing about policy because they don't know what the policies are. That's how ignorant that group is. They could care less about the policy because guess what? They've got the house, they've got the access, they've got the money. That's why they want to take care of your kids, because you don't have opportunity to do it yourself. They don't mind you staying with them because they're holding all the cards. But when you ask an older person about policy, Trump's policy that they don't like, they can't tell you one damn policy that Trump did to Black people or any other group. But you ask them, well, why do you want Trump out? Oh, he just has to go because the way he talks and the way he represents the United States. Oh, so you're offended by the way he conducts himself, and that's why you want the man out. Okay.
By overlooking the stuff that Biden has actually done. And in the Mixed Radio, it says this country has never cared about our health. Nope, never. And Robin says, oh, well, I didn't get a child tax credit. So yeah, me either. My child is 29. And let's see here, make sure I didn't miss any comments. And Gavetta says, Donovan, I didn't hear that this tax credit didn't apply to me. I need to let the women in my family know. Well, yeah, it's about to end.
Yeah. Okay. Check this out. Now, notice that one of the talking points of the Democrats is, and Kamala Harris said this, the child tax credit is going to lift all these Black people, 50 million Black people out of poverty, right? 50 million or whatever the number is. They're going to say all these people that are being lifted out of poverty. How does that do that overnight? So let's say you're getting a couple of checks. How does that lift everybody out of poverty overnight? It would take a while for that to happen. But now the Democrats just cut it off to accommodate one Republican that poses as a Democrat. They were willing to sacrifice 50 million families, single mother families, for one man. But that's their talking point. And yes, it starts tomorrow. Tomorrow it takes effect. So whatever break you were getting. So if you have 3 children, that tax credit affected all 3 of those children. You got money for all 3 of those children, right? It's not going to happen now. And isn't that funny that it's not going to happen just before taxes are due? And
also they knew people would believe it without doing any research. And Cortez, how you doing? Long time no see. He says, hey, Donovan and Demetra, now they are saying you can stay home for 5 days instead of 14. Yeah, I saw that. They're just, it's like, what the hell, right? And Sunlight says, yes, the black tap dancer, talking about Jim Clyburn. And Anastasia says, I'm willing to bet half of these people didn't even know who Desmond Tutu was. Well, the younger generation probably didn't. I'm assuming our generation should anyway. But yeah, in the Mixed Radio says Betty did stand up and was on code. Yeah, so that's why I'm like, I don't understand why. And again, Robert, I'm not saying this about you. I've just seen, I'm not going to say his name, but I'm really starting not to like him much. But he always keeping up some bull, just always just stirring up the pot, just getting Negroes mad. It's like Black people,
but that's why already. I'm on the show.
No, I ain't talking about you because I would have said your name. But Black people already mad enough, and it's like he just continues to stir the pot and put these little things out here just to to keep Black people all. But like you ain't gonna do nothing.
See, but no, but that's the playbook. Black people are emotional. We are highly emotional, more so now that we have single. And again, ladies, I'm not trying to be disparaging. What I'm saying is women are emotional. So if there's no man in the home and you have children, your children more or less are going to be more emotional than they are logical, thinking like men, like a lot. If you have boys, if you see some of these boys, they're very effeminate. Now, if they come from a single family home, that's how I'm saying. So they know Black people being emotional as we are, like when we talk loud, or, where we get really animated. They know that. And as long as we keep doing that, we are distracted from what they're really doing to us.
Yeah. And that's Black people that's, throwing out these, angry red meat steaks. And Honeydew says Biden is still enjoying his weekend at Bernie's. I'm convinced somebody is holding him up. And Gilbert says exactly, Demetra, not all white folks are evil and not all Black folks agree with the Black first agenda. Yeah, and I mean, we really just need to realize that, like, I think people, and listen, I'm not one of those people to cape for white people per se. But I mean, I just think we get to the point sometimes it's like, oh, you look at that. That's a Black person that says something about Betty White. Okay, we need to get mad about it. And it's like, no, we don't. Because we get mad and don't do shit. That's the problem I have. We get mad. Oh, look at that. And head about to explode. The vessels is about to pop. And it's like, you're not going to bust a grate. Only thing you're going to bust is your blood vessel. You're not going to do anything with all of this anger. So I don't understand when we have these people who are so-called leaders and have some influence, why they do that to Black people. We got enough things to be mad about than Betty White dying and two Negroes saying, oh, I'm going to miss her. Like, really?
You know, and that's a good point. But like, notice that when we do something and we do get in the streets and we do go out there and get mad and upset, like in the George Floyd case, what did they do? Oh, y'all y'all go back in the house now. We gonna get that qualified immunity. We got it. Don't worry. Just vote for us and make sure we get South Carolina. Y'all give us South Carolina. We gonna get rid of the qualified immunity. We gonna do all this stuff. And then we did that. And look where we're at today.
Yes, indeed. Hello, Brother Sammy. How are you doing? He says, greetings, Dimitri and Donovan. I want you to know that I did order that book and I am reading it, the workbook. And I'm like, wow. I've actually had to stop and really, other than, him telling me to in the book, I really had to stop and think about some things that I really didn't realize was the case. So thank you for recommending me that book. I love it. And Robin says, I'm not hating on Betty White. I wasn't saying that you were. So don't take it that way. I wasn't saying that you were. Says, I'm not hating on Betty White. I'm just stating what's obvious. I'm not angry or bitter over nothing. It's just obvious. I didn't know we all had to be on the same accord. My bad. No, we don't have to be on the same accord. We are not a monolith, even though some people say we are. And we, especially when it comes to voting, we kind of act like that. But no, I'm not saying that and I'm not nailing you to the cross from that. I'm just saying, I've seen that quite a bit. And I think it's Black people who are passing off like they are for Black people, but their actions sure do show otherwise. So that concerns me. But no, please don't think that I was talking about you.
Wait a minute. If I say something adverse, everybody's biting my head off. All y'all ganging up on me. So start ganging up on Demetra right now. Gang up on her.
So forgive me, Robin, if you thought that. I didn't mean it to come out that way. And Randy says, question, how did Candace Owens get such a big voice in politics? She didn't make sense to me. Well, this is the formula, right? And we all could do it, and you could be very rich. All you have to do,
a hoe.
No, all you have to do is tell white people all the things they believe and want to hear about Black people, and you will be rich. And that's what she does. So listen, I'm not mad at her hustle. Obviously, anybody with some sense knows what she's doing, but the people who are giving her the bag, which is mostly white people, she's a Trump. She's doing what Trump did. She knows what to do, feed red meat to the racists, and she's a modern day Step and Fetch It. I'm going to tell the white people what they want to hear about Black people. Okay, George Floyd, he was a criminal. Okay, Ahmaud Arbery, he was a drug addict. She's going to feed them all the things that they already believe, and that's why they listen to her, right? But it's sad
and fund her.
Well, it's sad that when Trump was like, no, that's not true. No, that's not true either. When she interviewed him. And in the mix radio says, ask Biden and Kamami. And Honeydew says, it's called low T. Donovan, Bobby Seale is damn near embarrassing in my opinion. And Arson, how are you? And you say, thank you, Demetra. There's no point in hating on Betty White. I felt like I had no choice because she's been out there forever and was always loved. We don't need to read too much into it. Plus, you taught me she stood up for one of us. Let's simply give credit where credit is due. Yeah, I mean, we don't it just takes a lot of energy, I think, to be mad. Like, I that's one of my resolutions. I don't really do them. I kind of started working on this a while back, is I'm going to stop being angry all the time, especially over stuff I have no control over, right? It takes a toll on you to be angry. It messes with your health if you really think about it. So let's get mad. But one of my favorite quotes is, get mad, but take action. Otherwise, you're just mad all the time. And, and the people who are fueling the fire in our community, they're getting a bag off of Black people. You know what I mean? And it's like they claim they doing this, that, and the other, but be careful. That's all I'm saying. And Gilbert says, yes, we hear through, we're here. I think he said we hear through Phil Scott podcast.
Phil's stealing my stuff. He's stealing my stuff. I'm saying it right here, right now. He's stealing my stuff.
So you acting like all that's an original thought, huh, brother? Gilvetta, you say yes. Oh no, I read that. And Intermix Radio says Biden already gave 30 in March of last year.
Yeah, 30 million or something like that. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Sunlight says it wasn't quiet. Quiet. Clyburn made a production out of it. Like, who's gonna check me? Yeah, like y'all ain't gonna do nothing. You ain't been doing nothing. Black Ricardo, how you doing? Long time no see. Sunlight says if he gets reelected, the residents of that state don't need to say anything else. And Thunder says China will help Black people at the detriment of the U.S. And that's the only reason why they would help to get a better position over the U.S.
Yes, but you got to remember, let's say they did do that. What do you think the position of Black people are going to be in a situation like that? If you go to China right now, I've been to China several times, Black people are at the bottom of the totem pole there, period.
Yep. And in
during the COVID, when the COVID first started, what did the Chinese do to the Black folks?
Boot them out of there.
Started beating them up.
Yep.
Initially.
And shunning them and a whole bunch of other stuff. And so in the mix radio says the anti-Asian hate crime bill only targets us. Yep, because that's what they show. That's all they show, right? Sunlight says Marcel been giving that heat he needs to win. And who is Marcel? I'm sorry, I don't know who that is. And Don, you say Asians, I think you meant, and the whites are the same people of the same origin, Canaanites. Yes, indeed. And they know it. And the mix radio says Happy New Year. This program is hot. Well, thank you. And you make it hot. And Kubler says, I think Black people's issue really need rebranding. We had the same political message and needs for the past 60 plus years. This year, my energy and focus is on Blacks creating a serious retirement plan. Yeah, we got to do something other than just, really just and running in circles. I mean, I know I'm tired of it. And Jonelle says, Black people have been under the hate crimes for 400 years and counting. This government can't give us a crime bill. It would have to arrest its own citizens and shut down. Exactly. And CC says, yes, we should already know if we read the Bible, there is life outside of earth. Revelations talk about unclean spirits that look like frogs, clearly demons. That's why I've been seeing a lot of people run around here looking like frogs. Makes sense.
Yeah, and I want you guys to remember this during this pandemic. We're going on our third year. Do you guys realize that in the 3 years that we've been in this pandemic, off and on, look at all the people who there are jobs out there that don't want to go back to work. I'm not mad at them. What do you think these corporations are going to be doing during all this? They're better improving their AI so that people will not be able to work. Period. It's going to be a permanent thing. And if we don't prepare our children, because we're at the bottom of the totem pole, what kind of jobs are we going to be? We are going to be permanent underclass people, no different. Yeah, well, no different than slavery, except the fact that we could come and go as we want to, and we don't have to show papers. But we're going to be servants. We're going to be literally the majority of us. The only jobs we are going to be getting if we don't get our shit together is servitude. That's it.
Too late. And it makes radio says, how do we stop our old people from voting the white supremacists for the white supremacist Democrats? You don't. Some of them will change their minds. Like, some of them are open to it, not a whole lot. And I'm not going to say what I'm thinking because, I don't want to get in trouble. And some people might think it's just mean, but they're stuck in their ways. They come from a generation of the civil rights movement. We got our piece of the pie. We benefited from those great jobs when the factories and stuff were in our communities. We were able to buy a house for $2 and a car for $1 and save our little nest egg. We good. We got what we wanted. So they're going to continue to vote for that because they think the Democrats is who, delivered that for them. And so they also operate a little bit now more so on an individual basis opposed to what's good for everybody. So I don't think we're going to change their mind. But give it a couple of years. We'll be all right. And that's all I'm going to say about that. And CC says, plus we know the government won't tell us about any knowledge they had outside of life so they can continue to know more than us and have the control. And Arson says, no, Donovan, typically the older generations don't know policies. But in the case of Trump, at the end of the day, no Black person at all could ever clearly articulate valid reasons to vote him out. The last campaign was one hell of a show. Never again will I underestimate the power of the media. Good point. And Sunlight says they were spouting that it will reduce child poverty by 50%, which they always say every year, say some random policy will do. Exactly. So if it's gonna, so what next year, this year, here, it doesn't need to be reduced. Like, did it just go away, or the reduction is it gonna stay that? Like, but people don't read into stuff. They're like, oh shit, they giving us a child, Anyway, Anita says that money was like given to people, was like giving people the welfare TANF checks. Now we can talk about how people are not going to get that big refund when they file their taxes. They might even owe this year. Yep. Sunlight says now the black tap dancer on Betty White show. Yeah, he says, so it was the tap dancer who, I guess, I don't know, they didn't want him to perform. And she says he stays. And yeah, her show was canceled after that. So, she did her part, I would say. And then the mixed radio says, I knew about Tutu, but I disagree with his moves. Yeah. And a lot of people do. They just don't know, right? Ramon says, no matter what, nobody thought about Bishop Tutu. I gave the fact that I always remembered as a child in the 80s and into the 90s of him speaking up for South Africa and getting South Africa apartheid.
Yeah, I mean, he fought apartheid. I'm not taking that away from him, but he also let a lot of murderers walk.
Yeah, I mean, but what did they, and no shade to him or Mandela, Lord, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but what did they do with the apartheid? We went to South Africa, and it's only thing that's different is the laws aren't there anymore, but the people are still living as though apartheid is going on.
Still exists, right? Exactly. Nothing changed. I mean, white people. Wait, about how many of you guys know this? Did you guys know that South Africa had nuclear weapons? They had nuclear weapons, and when the black people were about to take over, they dismantled all of their nuclear weapons and got rid of them just before they turned the government over to Nelson Mandela.
Robin, you said, I didn't see Betty White on the front line fighting police brutality and the social injustices of black folks. Maybe that was before my time. I'm not offended.
Well, Robin, a lot of people fought behind the scenes. How many of you guys know Ozzie Davis and Ruby Dee? They did a lot of funding of the civil rights movement from behind the scenes. A lot of sports athletes did a lot of that behind the scenes. And I'm not, and I agree with you. Sometimes if you don't see it, you don't believe it. But there are a lot of things that go on that we will never see that comes out later on, long after these people's deaths, that they actually did do.
I'm just going to ask this question, and I'm not trying to be funny. When she's 99, was she supposed to be on the front lines? I mean, I'm just asking. Like, how much on the front lines would we want her to be? And would you want your grandmama out there, or your great-great-grandma, probably at this point, at that age, to be out on the front lines fighting police brutality? See, the problem is and I'm not saying this about you, Robin, but, it's going to take white people to get rid of white supremacy and racism and all of that. But it's like, I wouldn't want to see my grandmama out there on the front lines fighting white supremacy.
Yeah, well, I think what Robin was saying, like in the 60s and the 50s, she didn't see, you didn't see Betty White marching with King. You didn't see her.
But she saved the Negro a job. She saved the Negro a job, which is more than I could say for a lot of people. And this is the other thing that we don't get about philanthropy. And those of y'all who claim you read the Bible says when you do for people, you do it in secret. You don't get, the internet has got us jacked up. And listen, I'm not speaking to anybody particularly. I'm just saying in general, the internet has got us jacked up. The minute we give somebody a peanut, we want to take a picture, upload it to all our social media platforms, and say, look what I did for this person. So philanthropy, you guys know when Prince died, we heard about all the stuff he was doing. Even Farrakhan said, I never got to meet Prince. He came to visit me when I was sick in the hospital when they wouldn't let him in. But he gave a whole bunch of money to the nation. But Prince didn't get out there and say, well, let me tell you what I'm doing for people, because that's not the way philanthropy works. True philanthropy is done behind the scenes to benefit the person that you're helping. And that's between you, that person, and God. So not everybody gets out there and says, okay. And then think about this. Betty White saying, well, listen, I helped 10 Negroes today. I want everybody to know. I mean, was she really going to do that? So we don't know what she did. Honestly.
Right. It's kind of like Sheila Jackson Lee talk about, look, I'm out here passing out water. I need your votes and all that other stuff. But okay. And a better example like this, as much as I love to talk about Ike Turner and male masculinity, and I know you guys get on me for that. If you guys only knew the things that I do behind the scenes.
you'd be locked up. Anyway, let's get back to it. And Honeydew says both parties are white supremacists. Yep. And NMH Radio says we are being attacked 24/7, and there are white supremacists about here killing us. Yep. And Gilvetta says, yeah, you know what? One of the things we need resolution is for people not to be insensitive to things people voice their opinions on versus everyone has a right to his or her opinion. Everyone is so angry. I mean, I agree with you on that. I mean, I don't think.
Damn feminists.
No, I mean, I'm one of those people who believe you are entitled to your opinion. I mean, that's to me what makes the world go round, differing opinions. But I think sometimes, and this just is my opinion, we as Black people, we get stuck on the low-hanging fruit. You know, like I said, I didn't post about Betty White dying. I thought, I thought it was sad. I did post about Max Julian. I thought that, because I'm more in touch with Max Julian, not that I knew him.
Well, the funny thing is more Black people know of Max Julian than they do Betty White.
Well, I think probably a lot of people know Betty White due to
well, yeah, but I
say Betty White.
yeah, but I'm talking about like the older Black folks versus the younger together. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
All right, so let me get back to it here. But yeah, I agree with you. And Thunder says them taking away the tax credit, I think they might use that as leverage to get votes back. Still tall sisters and stand tall. I'm sorry, brothers and sisters, hold strong and hold the vote. Absolutely.
Isn't that a hostage situation? If y'all don't vote for us, we won't give you back the tax credit.
Oh, well, I ain't getting it anyway. And Anastasia says if we did half of what they did for that trucker for ourselves, we would have had reparations. Yeah. And that's what I said in that video I made. I mean, those truckers said, listen, Denver, listen and how do you say 10-4? Listen good. Y'all not getting no water. Y'all ain't getting no food or anything else. You dependent on truck drivers from outside of Denver to deliver until you give him justice. And that was the truck driver that was sentenced to 110 years, and they just reduced his sentence to 10 years. They said he'll probably do 5. But until you give him justice and, do something about that, we're not bringing anything to you. And the governor interceded. He didn't wait for, them to go through the legal processes and all that. The governor says, now I got it, right? Because to your point, Anastasia, they were getting ready to get shut down. And it didn't take them what? The trucker was sentenced maybe a week before the truckers and everybody, started to organize. A week. Imagine if we did that for a day. The things that we would get. And Robin says, yes, made one comment about Betty White and everybody got in their feelings. Wow. But Robin, come on now. We are not in our feelings. I'm just saying, and I wasn't saying you specifically. And Pam is jamming. How you doing? He says, greetings, Dimitri Donovan in chat. And Sunlight says, Donovan, Sadiq jokingly, did you just define emotional as animated and loud speaking? Laugh out loud. Just kidding. I just listened, Sunlight. I just listened. Moni says, Donovan, what day did you come to Michigan and what part did you get a chance to see downtown? They keep up the rest of the neighborhood and you already know it's Hitsville.
Yeah, no. I was just joking that I came from Michigan. Everybody's alluding that I was in Michigan with you already.
In spirit. Anastasia says, all that cussing and fussing all summer and all we got, quote unquote, was Juneteenth, which most people up north didn't even know was a thing, and they are banning why there was even a Juneteenth. Yeah, and I ordered the book, this 1619 Project. I'm going to start reading that probably tomorrow. It is a big book, but yes, you're absolutely right. And a lot of us didn't even know what Juneteenth. We might have heard of it, but we didn't know why, and all of that. And so, yeah. Honeydew says, nobody said all white people are evil, but they will stay on code. It says PBP. I'm sorry, I don't know what that means. Therefore, defending the few white friends we maintain does nothing for us as a group. In my opinion, no, I agree. And I didn't consider, this is going to be kind of ironic, Betty White a friend. I was thinking about the theme song. Thank you for being a I didn't consider her a friend, but I absolutely agree with you. It's going to take more than just one or two white people to do something in order to help Black people. But yeah. And Image Radio says, Robin Cooper, we have more respect, important issues ahead. If it makes you happy, RIP Betty White. And Moni says, Thomas, like this here, Betty White never did. I don't understand comment. And what? We have a special guest in the building. The pioneer is here. What's going on with your brother? It says, good evening, beautiful queen, king, and family. We are so happy to have you back. I sent the APB out there for you a couple of weeks ago. See if you was running around those YouTube streets, but I assume you were working. And Meta Simple Locks. Oh, I know I jacked it up. How are you? Long time no see. Says, hey, everybody. And JJ, so you're saying hello. And in the mixed radio says, if they stay on code with each other against us, that might mean they are very anti-Black. They got on code with Kyle Rittenhouse. Yeah, but you know what? That's what they're supposed to do, right? They're supposed to get on code with one another. We are the only group of people who don't get that. Like we don't agree with what how they are have catapulted Kyle Rittenhouse, but that's his folks. That's what they're supposed to do. We're the only ones that don't do that for each other. You know what the crazy part is? Nearly Fuller Jr. always talks about how we as Black people are always kikiing and ha-ha and playing and celebrating. Everything is a joke, right? While everybody else is organizing and staying on code, we playing around. So we got to change that. Sounds like a resolution to me. And Moni says, Betty White never did nothing for the Black community in her earlier years. She wouldn't even talk to a Black man, Black woman, because she always felt she was better. God has the final say in it all. I mean, I don't know. I guess I'm not here to defend or argue for or against Betty White. I mean, to me, it's just... Honeydew, he says, even my own white friends can't understand our points because they do not have to. However, they are able to separate politics from friends, and you will never know who they donate to. Exactly. And my thing is, I don't care if you are a Trump supporter or whatever the case is. I mean, that's your right to do that. I'm not going to take it so far as a lot of people, you know, they'll disassociate themselves with people. I'm not talking to them. I'm blocking you and all this. It's like, who cares? If they want to vote for those people, great. But we should still be able to be friends, on other stuff. I guess, I don't know. I think it's, it's just mind boggling to me. And John, how you doing? It says New Year's Eve resolution. I think that's what it means. He says, can we stop making excuses for bad behavior that Black politicians do? I co-sign that. But yeah, I find myself sighing a lot lately because, I'm just in my mind, I'm evolving, I'm going other places. But so me and you agree, John, and everybody that's in here, and Donovan, we agree that we should stop making excuses for bad politicians. But the people who are making excuses for bad politicians, they get out there and they vote, and they continue to vote for oppression. Prime examples, Kamala Harris. She didn't make it as a presidential candidate, but she got on a ticket with Joe Biden, and all of a sudden people loved her. All she had to do was talk about the hot sauce that she puts on her greens for Doug and put on her chucks and pearls and dance to the marching bands. And Black people got lockstep, and all of a sudden she was this sister and all this other stuff. But they neglected to see her record in California and the things that she did to Black people unapologetically, and then lied and said she didn't do it when it was obvious and it was on record that she did those things.
Right. And then how many people watched the debates where she basically called out Joe Biden as a white racist, the trope, and then joins the ticket?
And just, we did it, Joe. We did it. It's like, oh my gosh. Pioneer,
we fooled those Negroes again, Joe. Yay! Yes, we did it. Thank you, Sister Skewy. We got the vote in Skewy. And wait. And all you feminists out there, I didn't hear one feminist or modern woman, whatever you guys want to call yourselves, complain that the Democratic Party used sexism and a woman's body and going to the polls and hoes and all that up to polls. I didn't hear one objection to that at all by the Democratic Party that used women's bodies in regards to getting votes.
Whatever it takes, brother, to get the souls to the polls, to vote for Joe Biden, blue, no matter who. The Pioneer says, Queen, you're looking exceptionally beautiful with the Lauryn Hill look. I appreciate that. Thank you. That's quite a compliment there. And Honeydew says, Phil interviewed Clyburn's new opponent, a young black man. Yes, indeed.
Yes. How many of you guys remember Demetra interviewed a candidate that ran against Ralph Warnock in the special election, also in Georgia, and she was on the show, and we are going to try to get her to get interviewed as well on Phil's show if possible, because again, this is the election year, and if you're going to do it, you're going to do it. It isn't really about winning necessarily, but you can bleed a person by 1,000 cuts.
Yeah. And In the Mix Radio says 30 billion. Is that what Biden gave Native Americans in March of last year?
Yeah, there was a bill that gave Native Americans something like 60 billion, it's like 60 billion or something like that. And it could have been 30 billion, but then last week or the week before last, just before the holidays, quietly, Jim Clyburn, Mr. Fish Fry himself, he didn't just sponsor the bill. He wrote the bill. He wrote a bill for another group of people. On my podcast, I showed where this man hasn't wrote one freaking thing for his own people. And yet these people in South Carolina still vote for this Negro.
But he got some warm butter biscuits coming his way. And Robin says, since y'all want to go there with me, he says, I don't care about white people like that. Y'all the ones that's hurt over my comments. Simpleton. We'll take that one. We'll take it. And Morning says, Happy New Year. So he talked to the Pioneer. And yes, you guys, please like and share and subscribe if you haven't already and become a member. Thank you, Donovan, for that. We also have a PayPal, Cash App, Venmo. If you want to donate to the channel, we love and appreciate you for that. And you can join the super chat. And Randy says, I saw a guy on YouTube named Jesse Lee Peterson. I couldn't believe my eyes and ears. I had to turn this iPad off. Seemed like he should be number one on the FCC shutdown list.
But you got to remember, Randy, I mean, the brother's trying to get paid. So you got some people out here that don't care about the culture. They just don't care.
I'm laughing because when I saw the names you put up there, Jesse Lee Peterson, he was the one that was the black dude, believe it or not. I think
sheriff.
He's black.
Yeah, he's a sheriff.
No, not the sheriff. I think Phil had a debate with him as well. He's not a sheriff. He's a white supremacist in blackface, but he was the one that was advocating and trying to get a White History Day. He was trying to get a White History Day. So yeah, Randy, I'm laughing because I've seen a couple of his interviews and you can't do nothing but laugh because you're like, is this Negro serious? Like, who sent you? We've got to be getting punked or something. He's just as bad, if not worse, in a comical way than Candace Owens. You guys got to check him out. And the Pioneer says, in order to retire, it means you have to work first. How much work are Afro-Americans putting in to build a nation or even a community for ourselves?
Well, we put $1.73 trillion every year into the American economy. That's help building a nation.
Yeah, and I know Brother Ben X, he's helping people buy land. I think it's Atlanta, somewhere other places, and T.I. and I think Killer Mike and a couple other people. There's a lot of people, not enough. I'm not saying that there's that are doing that, but you're right. We need to start thinking along those lines. And Moni says, no, Donovan, you got to take your ganging up on because you have a way of saying stuff like that, not just controversial, sometimes funny, but sometimes unnecessarily cruel. Let's be clear, you do that.
Okay, I will take that. But sometimes the truth is not pretty.
Yes, indeed. And Thunder says, if China does help Black people here in the U.S., the problem will not come from the government. It will come from the citizens. You can believe that.
Well, you know what? I'm going to have to disagree with you on that, because if Asians, and I was raised in the Asian community environment, they will not do that, because if that was the case, they would already be in solidarity with us right now. Their culture does not dictate to them to do for other races other than themselves. Look at the Black kids in Vietnam. They are the lowest of the low, and nobody will help them.
He's talking about the citizens over here.
Again, Show me where they're doing that. Show me an Asian that is in
He's
solidarity
saying
with us.
basically that the citizens will turn up if the government did something for us. That's what he. I mean, yeah, if they got to, yeah, that's what he's saying.
My bad.
And the Pioneer, you say they're using artificial intelligence to replace much of the population, but whose fault is it if so many of our people are too lazy to build their own jobs that can't be replaced by no one else? You make a good point. A lot of these warehouses are going to AI, and we, depending on where you live, a lot of now it's mostly Hispanic working warehouses, but a lot of these service industry jobs that we do, they are going over to AI, and so we should be building stuff up in our communities that we can continue to eat, right?
Well, Pioneer, you don't understand what you're talking about because I got my eyelash business. I'm the CEO of Bat Wings Incorporated.
I'm gonna let Olivia.
And, I have my own job, so I create jobs. I don't know what you're talking about. We gotta level up. We gotta level up, ladies.
Olivia, I see you here, and you are right on time. I hear you say you late. You right on time, ladies. I'm gonna let y'all make it do what it do. Hey, Charles, how are you? You says we was born into this party and brainwashed. Yep, born into the Democratic Party, and we just been passing down oppression ever since. And how you doing, by the way? Long time no see. And Honeydew says, Neely Fuller said, we're going to have to let our people come to their senses on their own. As it seems more truth we learn about politics, the more we are dividing. Yes, indeed. I absolutely agree with that. Pioneer says, I can't get mad at the civil rights generation. Is a lot of the youth screwed up their opportunities, smoking dope and going to jail. It's a shame when Asians benefit more from civil rights than Black youth.
Right. Now, Pioneer, I just want to ask this question. So when you're talking about the youth, you're talking about civil rights. Like my mom during the civil rights era, she was young. She was like, in her 14. She didn't become 20 till she was in the 70s. So you're talking about those people, right? Because those people that had children, because we were the first generation to kind of benefit to the after apartheid within the United States. These were the kids that were the love child. They were doing the dope, the LSD, the free love. That's our parents' generation, right? So those are the people you're talking about.
So anyway, I'm going to let him answer that. I'm going to get to these comments because I see I'm severely behind. And in the mixed rate, it says a lot of our brothers and sisters in the hood are clueless about the anti-Asian hate crime bill that Biden and Harris created to hurt us. And JJ says, I wonder did the media give the same shine when Cicely Tyson died in 2021? I would say they came pretty close. Being that Cicely Tyson, is a Black woman. I posted about Cicely Tyson, so I did see a lot of people talk about Cicely, but did the media do it? I'm not for sure. I don't watch TV, so. And so like says, Marcel, okay, got it. It's a guy running against Clyburn and Phil interviewed him. Got it. And the Pioneer says, we need to start blaming the right people for the problems in our community and stop letting these agents misdirect and misguide you into blaming the wrong people. I 100% agree. And one who cares says, Marjorie Taylor Greene is banned from Twitter. Laugh out loud. I saw that. And Sunlight says, salute to Winnie Mandela. Yes, indeed. And Mona says, Donovan, in no way am I saying that I'm for Chinese government matters to me because they never will be. But they help the Black community be small gestures. Watch and see. Wouldn't it change overnight?
Yeah, Moni, I'm not disagreeing with you, but if you're going to make that saying, could you just give us an example so that we can kind of follow where you're going?
Jonelle says 2022, we need to promote and support our own first and motion our economics toward things that will empower us, like investing in Black ideas, products, businesses, etc. 2022, our focus should be on our Black vision, ideas, and elevation. I totally agree with you on that. Trying to build more Black businesses, stuff that we need, right? And actually supporting those businesses. And then on the other side of that, being in a position to be supported. So yes, indeed, that should be our focus, to circulate Black dollars. Honeydew says, Cicely Tyson is my reason I find Megan good to be off, but I don't compare my life to celebrities, not saying anyone does in the chat. Okay. And Robin says, again, Donovan, I didn't know why y'all so up in your feelings about
Wait a minute. How did I get named into the, that's between you and Demetra. You guys were having a conversation. How did I get caught up in it?
What I damn it said, we're not in our feelings. I was just kind of just saying, what I was really saying was more for the person. I'm not going to mention his name, and you guys all know who he is. just fueling the fire unnecessarily. You know, it's like, why do that? If you have a position to where you have a lot of people following you, why don't you really give some solutions instead of being a flamethrower? Not in that way. And Sunlight says Aretha Franklin and Shaka Khan were activists too. Yes, indeed. And Moni, you say, for example, if they started investing more money in the Black communities and loaning Blacks money, you would see how quickly white folks would stand up and they would be highly pissed about it, really. And Cortez says, why does everyone have to be on the front line? Like Donovan said, everyone isn't going to be on the front line. Sometimes it's best to work behind the scenes. Good point. Robin says, obviously you are saying about me because you keep saying, I'm not saying about you, Robin. I'm not the one getting triggered. Happy New Year. I'm out. Robin, are you serious?
See, you just cost us a viewer. You're fired.
All right, well, if y'all see Robin, tell her to come on back. And In the Mix Radio says, Megan Good, new show is horrible and it makes Black men look horrible. Yeah, so I heard, actually, my brother texted me early yesterday morning, which is odd. And he says that he watched the first episode and he says Black people are doomed. I was like, damn, that bad, huh? Because I only got past, I couldn't get past 5 minutes.
We talk about Harlem?
Harlem. And Partner says, I agree with the Queen. You have to appreciate the fact that Betty White did sacrifice her show to keep a Black man's job. That act alone is worthy of mentioning, if nothing else. And Moni says, it's time for the UN to come together and force the hand of the U.S. that they racism towards Blacks, but not allowing them not to come to the UN and other foreign countries. Wake up time like now. Okay, let me get to these comments because you and her gonna go back and forth about China and the UN.
No, I just want to say this real quick, Moni. You do understand that the UN is a puppet regime set up by the United States, right? We control the UN. That's why it's there. It's a deflection so that we can say, "Oh yeah, we're going to do all this." We control the UN. You do understand that.
And Arson says, laugh out loud, Demetria. Betty White is like 99. Would you like her on the front lines? Seriously, though, we need to quit expecting others to do for us. Plus, Betty White wouldn't strike me as a type who would have bragged about it. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Just, you know, Pioneer, I've said too much, apparently. And the Pioneer says, Betty helps a Black man keep his job and stands up against racism. But some of the same people who say that's not good enough will turn around and support Trump or the Republican Party. I was with you all the way up to that last part. And Cortez says, I agree, Demetri. And the Pioneer says, yeah, those truckers stood together for that Latino trucker. I respect that. You got to, right? Nikki, how you doing? He says, why do we have to be so mad all the time about every little thing? It's draining and it's a waste of energy. And that's really what I was saying. Like, just like try being, we as Black people, we don't need a lot of reason to be mad because there's a lot of things out there. But sometimes I think we just need to try to embrace peace.
Women are emotional. It is your nature.
Well, I'm not just women, it's us as Black people. We are not very mature enough as a people to really just dissect things, right? So I'm saying we should embrace peace. I didn't say forgiveness. That I did not say. We should embrace peace within ourselves so that we can think with a clear head sometimes and stop allowing people to trigger us. Because I'm speaking from experience. I used to be one of those people, somebody could tell me something. I'd be like, what? Oh, and I would just turn up. But then that turning up was getting my blood pressure up and all of that. And I'd have to say to myself, well, why am I that mad? Is it really that big of a deal, right? So I just think we as Black people need to choose strategically the stuff we're going to be angry over. And it should be stuff we can do something about. And Mr. Piebrain says, we got a lot for the bus boycott. Yeah, but we also helped tank Black bus businesses that were already up and running. There was a lot of other Black bus lines that were running, and we helped tank them as soon as we were able to ride with white folks in the front of the bus. Hey, Brian, how you doing? And Warrior Scholar, what's going on with you? He says, y'all got too much pleasure by speaking to what we do and don't. That's scapegoating for the fact that we are not we most properly, and you will not be able to get corpses to get on code. You calling us the Walking Dead? Good point. Honeydew says, yeah, and imagine if a trucker was actually Black. I'm convinced 110 years would have stuck. How many Black people were executed, but evidence showed not guilty? Absolutely. I 100% agree with you, but they got on code. They was like, not on our watch. Y'all in Denver gonna starve before, if it got anything to do with us. But yes, I mean, a good point. The governor probably would have been, well, they say he's a good dude, the governor. I would hope that a black man would have got some justice, but we've seen otherwise, right? And did I skip your comment from News from the Edgemont? No. And the pioneer says, this is why I say we need to organize the intelligent and righteous of our people together and a form of community. The most intelligent of us would have no problem getting on code and organizing. I agree with you. And Honeydew says, sorry, point blank, period. Oh God, that's what PvP means. Ooh, I'm behind. And News from the Edgemont says, I love Moni. All right. Sunlight says, wait a minute. What you do, Donovan?
Yeah, see how y'all be blaming me for stuff?
Martin said, I didn't think she deserved to be nobody's front line on the basis. Betty White never did anything, in my opinion, that I remember seeing for Black community over the top. Special news reports, really. Okay. And Charles has had a body like a sister in the younger days. Wow. And who was that? Who was that? You talking about Betty White? Okay. And that guy from Texas, how you doing? He says, peace, everyone. Pioneer says, I'm personally not for or against Betty. Personally, because I didn't know her, but if any white person does something to help our people, it should be acknowledged. I even acknowledge Trump's help. Yeah, and that's where I'm at. I'm not for or against. I mean, I really don't even have a dog in a fight. I just was just basically saying, really wasn't about Robin. I'm sorry that she took it that way, but the person that is fueling the fire unnecessarily, he doesn't need to do that, in my opinion. And let's see. And Jonelle says, research Heartbreak Day. Okay. Our struggle as Black people is to come out of the white graves we are buried in. There is no true Black liberation. Being slave-minded, chasing the American dream, where there is no vision, the people perish. Our exodus blooms when we are in our right state of mind, the a mind of a truth, not white fiction 2022. Let's truly be free. Yes, indeed. And I love it. Pioneer says, laugh out loud. Y'all are hating on Kamala because she's light-skinned. It is. Yeah, okay. Now we hating on her because of what she did to Black people. And it's like, what? I'm just not going to do anything for Black people now. Hey, Tanaya, how you doing? You say, hey, Demetri and Donovan, happy 2022. Yes, indeed. And Don, you say, sorry, I hate to inform you, royals. We are not to get reparations from them. We're getting our own. The way out in Egypt equals got our own on the way out before they got destroyed. Some will be our slavers after. And Morning says, Donovan, now that I'm back in the line, made it quick, little meal, cauliflower rice and chicken salad. Tell me what it was like when you came to Detroit. He was lying. He didn't go there. He was just kidding. And Honeydew says, if people do what they're supposed to do, why do you need a special acknowledgement? I agree with that too. And Pioneer says, but if you believe Babylon or Egypt is going to be destroyed, why are you still inside the country? This is what I mean about religion and the confusion it causes in the minds of people. And a guy from Texas says, as soon as she got to the White House, Joe Biden said, all right, Kamala, don't say nothing. Don't touch nothing. Stand in the corner. You're VP by name only.
Yeah, and you know what? You're kind of true, because they allege that, and this is one of the things her staff was saying, is like, there would be meetings that were going on and Biden would introduce her and then dismiss her.
I believe it. Pioneer says there should be way more people watching this show than 50 to 60. Just look at Demetri alone and Brother Donovan with and comedy will keep them. Yeah, well, hopefully, the word will spread, but we good with just y'all.
Yeah, and the funny thing, Pioneer, is actually it's mostly we get looks but mostly on the replays. So coming out live, people are out there living their lives with them. We usually get it on the replay.
Yeah, I would say that is true. And Money says, why should Betty White get more attention than Desmond Tutu, Max Julian, rapper DMX, shot? I think he meant shot G. Digital Underground. We can relate more to them than Betty White. Let's be serious. Let's not give attention to BS. Well, we can't tell white people what to do. White people are going to acknowledge their own. And I've acknowledged all of those people that you said. Now, did I post about all of them? No, I did not. But I don't need to post about that to let y'all know that I acknowledge those people. I don't know. I just think, to me, I think we stressing out over something we really absolutely have no control over. Pioneer says, I remember that Jesse Lee celebrates White History Month. Yeah. He was wanting to get a day started. And Mr. Pyrebrain says a gay black man may take Clyburn down in 2022. So is that that's the Marcel guy? Okay, and Sunlight says there was a meme about Clyburn biscuit. I commented they were from Kentucky Fried Chicken back in the day. They went all out. I saw them and I know those biscuits anywhere. Pioneer says, no, it says Moni talking to Pioneer. And Leo son, how you doing? Say Jesse Lee Peterson is the worst. He doesn't make sense. Yeah, it's actually funny. I'm like laughing because I'm like, there's no way this dude is serious. And Pioneer says some of our people are working hard toward building a nation for themselves and their children. Most are not. Too many are busy smoking dope and going in and out of jail. Yeah, there's a lot of us that are doing that, but there's a lot of people who are, wanting to get on board and do something, but we need to make a decision fast, right? And Sunlight says, Donovan on Twitter is becoming like Facebook. I'm trying to control myself. I rarely go on Twitter. I go on every once in a while. Donovan, take this for a second. The comments. I got to take this phone call.
All right. Finally, I get to run her show, and I'm going to run it right into the ground, you guys. Leo Sun says, Jesse Lee Peterson is the worst. He doesn't make sense. And then Pioneer says, some of our people are working hard toward building a nation for themselves and their children. Most are not. Too many are busy smoking dope and going in and out of jail. Well, yeah, because now, those baby boomers who were using drugs in the 60s and 70s, they were doing it in front of their children. Like, it's no big deal. Oh, it's just weed. Don't worry about it. They don't even realize now that because they put that premise out there, that now they've doomed their children to not get certain jobs. Like when everybody says that weed is no big deal, and I tell them I fly airplanes, would they want me to fly an airplane after smoking some weed? Everybody says no. So how is it that other people could smoke weed, but certain people in certain professions can't?
Yep. Well, and where did you leave off?
Pioneer.
It says when they were closing down the big three, that one?
No, some of the people are working hard.
Oh, okay, got it. So you didn't read any comments. Let's see here. And then Moni says, Dimitri, we don't have to imagine if it is already here. We're sticking together in many different ways. Believe that, and this is why the white supremacists know it, and is doing all they can to keep us in line, he thinks. And Honeydew says, yeah, Clyburn opponent is gay, but he seems to be black first. But what you say, he is an easy target for a scandal. Seriously, as long as he's openly gay, he may have a chance. Yeah, especially since, that's kind of like hot now, right?
Well, and what was that guy in Florida? What happened to him?
Well, like that's why she was saying, as long as he's, he ain't got nothing like that going on. And Pioneer says, when they were closing down the big three in Detroit 50 years ago, it was employing hundreds of thousands of black folks. What kept them from organizing and buying at least one of those factories? Damn good point. And Arson says, Donovan, you and your imitations, you got all sorts of black women, all ages coming for you. I thought they coming out of you, coming for you. Yeah, well, he loves it. I think he secretly likes it. And Thunder says, if China helped black people, it's possible that some of the white people would attempt to harm any and all black people. That's what I was saying. Yes, I got what you were saying. Pioneer says, time out for making excuses for the constantly stupid behavior of so many of our people. It's time to separate ourselves and let the dead bury the dead. I agree with you. I do agree with you on that one. And Moni says, Donovan, I would love for you to give a view of Detroit, because you pointed out it's so raggedy, but the downtown part, they kept that up. What's your view on it? Let you tell it it's too raggedy.
No, I never said Detroit is raggedy. Now, when I made that comment like Detroit, I wasn't saying it's raggedy. I was saying it's not, when you think of the United States and you think of places that people want to go, number one is always New York. All foreigners want to go to New York. They want to go to Manhattan. They want to go to that. Beverly Hills in California, San Francisco. They think of everything else. Because when you think of Detroit, you think of blight because of the it went under, it filed for bankruptcy and stuff like that. And that's what I was saying. I'm not saying Detroit doesn't have beautiful spots. It does. I'm very sure it does. But like you said last week, if they've made it to where the oligarchs could only go in certain areas, and then the majority of the people that are regular people and are poor, that's kind of ridiculous, so.
Yes, indeed. And Sunlight says, yes, they did heavily acknowledge Cicely Tyson on social media. I saw it myself. Pioneer says, Brother Don, the civil rights generation did two things. They fought and got our civil rights, and they celebrated in the 70s with partying, interracial sex, and drugs. So you have the good and the bad.
Yes, and I always say nobody benefited from the civil rights era more so than the people that fought it. If we benefited from the civil rights era, which we did in some capacity, but why the hell are we where we're at right now?
Right. And Sunlight says social media is the only media relevant now, unfortunately. And the Pioneer says one of the mistakes of the civil rights generation is trying to integrate our people with the devils. They meant well, but didn't know the damage it will cause to the future generation. So I would agree with that. And Olivia, you said, don't worry, I'm listening and I don't mind stepping in, but stepping in his butt with both feet so he can rant on and try to kick me out again. Laugh out loud. That was hilarious.
I would never do that, Olivia.
He says, anybody talk down on the Black community need to be questioned. Yes, indeed. And Moni says, too bad, Donovan. I would love for you to see it. Downtown Detroit does have a lot of gentrification just in the downtown parts, and then make all of the other parts look worse because they only support non-Black people. And Honeydew says, I ain't gonna lie, I like Jason Black too. I appreciate his knowledge of Dr. John Henry Clark Henry. Yes, absolutely. And Moni says the raccoons will stand up for the oppressor in all aspects. If you look at this woman's track record, she did nothing for Blacks during the time of hard racism in the 1940s and 50s and 60s into the 70s. Pioneer says not only does the United States control the UN, the U.S. also controls China through private Western corporations. Half of the Chinese population works for the West.
Well, I'm going to have to disagree with you on that one. Do you realize, Pioneer, that China owns more than half of the U.S. debt? That is why we are such bad folks. If we renege, that's why we're really hoping that we go to war with them so we don't have to pay those debts. That's why, like when the housing bubble happened in 2007-8, there was a congresswoman that said, do not leave your property because we don't even know who owns it. And it's China. China owns that. They own most of Washington, D.C. and those federal buildings. All of that is leveraged by China.
Yes, indeed. And Honeydew says, what the F? No offense to the talented that sacrificed to break doors down for future Blacks to earn. However, it was good business to stand up for her performers. Yeah, I mean, she didn't have to do that. She could have said, I guess I'm gonna be the only one eating today, but she didn't. She actually paid a price for doing that as well. And Kubler says, serious question, like Native Americans, can we Blacks finally adapt an educational, cultural, and economical requirement to be identified and be federally recognized as Black? Good question. And
we could if we had these bootlicks that in the CBC, 58 members strong, there's only 3 votes that separate the control of the House. They could demand, and just like what Jim, whatever his name is in West Virginia, he did. One man stopped the whole agenda. What would 58 votes in the House do? Think about that. So we have the manpower. They just don't have the will because they don't give a shit.
Pioneer says, I agree with both of you that women are emotional by nature, but Black people are emotional as people. Also, I have Asperger's syndrome, and it has been an asset in helping me control my emotions. Yeah, I mean, we in general as Black people, we are fed those little triggers and little things that keep us distracted by being mad about stuff we really have no control over at this time. So yeah, Honeydew says, as long as we shucking and jiving, they will defend us a little bit. Gavetta says, my previous point was proven why grown adults are folks getting upset over someone else's opinion. This is a platform that allows all people to voice how they feel. This is why we are considered the angry Black women. I'm gonna keep reading. And the Pioneer says, it's amazing how many people in jail and prison who are pretty decent people ordinarily, but can't control their emotions and get too mad too easily. That's why I said, I always ask, what's it going to cost me? Is it going to cost me some freedom if I get mad when I can do other things, right? Like really just take a second to think about what is it really going to cost me if I get emotional. And JJ says, there's a video of Chinese man putting down a man. It's on YouTube titled Chinese Man Telling His Opinion About African Men. I can imagine what he's saying, because I've seen other videos like that. And Jonelle says majority of these shows is modern Black exploitation degradation being served to confuse Black minds and lead them to immorality, as it is the practice of on the masses. Think, where would this white nation be without its media? Why didn't we become like Batman since a bat bit a human and started so-called pandemic? Go figure, reject the whitewash via tell lie vision. I think Donovan is a Batman for real. Sunlight says, Donovan, I stepped away for a minute, then read the thread. If all else fails, blame Donovan. Laugh out loud. I love it. And the Pioneer says, even as a kid in school, it took me a minute to learn to defend myself because I didn't understand how some kids could get so angry and emotional so quick over such pettiness, because I wasn't that way. Because we are not taught, and we don't really teach our kids to control your emotions. Like, what are you getting so upset over? Like, sometimes I'm in the car with my daughter, somebody will cut her off and she'll want to get it crunk. And I'm like, listen, sister, if we out here at the Wild Wild West in Texas and they do shoot over, you getting mad because they cut you off. I said, they cut you off. So what? Did you die? Did it take something from you? So that, like, why get mad? I'm just saying. No, you ain't saying nothing, especially with me in the car. You want to act like that in the car by yourself, by all means, but it's not that serious. And so, we need to teach our people, emotions really could get you in a lot of trouble. And which cat is that, Donovan?
T'Challa. Remember, if you have the white muzzle, little white mark, the tuxedo, that's Misty.
Okay. And Marty says, so I say this year we stop if any of them pass away. We don't even waste time talking on it. If they never did anything for us, why do we care what happens to them? Seriously. I mean, I just feel like, again, I think we taking this, we're arguing past the point now in regards to Betty White. I mean, RP Betty White, she was loved and revered and people will miss her. And I think really that's all I got to say about it, to be honest with you. Gibetta says, how did the narrative turn to Betty White? Laugh out loud. We are here to discuss the resolution that Black first family need to take to advance forward. I'm just saying, funny to me. I'm glad you said it, because I really was trying to keep moving on from Betty White, but I don't know how. That's another thing too. We need to resolve to figure out how to not have such short attention spans and get distracted. Like, I don't have a problem with somebody bringing up Betty White, but I don't think we need to belabor the point. I mean, Jesus Christ.
Just go ahead and blame me. It's okay. I can take it.
I'm getting ready to. And Honeydew says, I actually don't care what Betty White did for our community. She was funny enough. That's it. I didn't know about her Black dancer. Was he a co-host or a performer on the show that got her ratings? Let's get real. I don't think he was I don't know what his capacity was. So I don't want to lie about it, but they didn't want him on the show. And she said he stays.
Yeah, but only in the Black community do we look at entertainers and athletes as leaders. No other group does that.
And Pioneer says, and I'm just going to skip to some of these other comments just to kind of get past the whole Betty White thing. And you say he may have been joking, but knowing Donovan abilities, I think he actually loved Detroit because he could make so much money there. And Kubler says, I think our politicians, Donovan and your cat. Pioneer says, I think that
he only shows up when it's showtime. I don't get him.
I see. And Pioneer says, I think if Donovan came to Detroit and stayed for a couple of weeks and drove around the city, he'd see 1,001 ways to make millions, from buying up land to real estate to business investments. Yes, indeed.
Yeah, did you guys ever see that one video? I think Phil did a show on it where the people stole the steps off the house.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Now that's a damn shame. And Martin says, no, Donovan wouldn't have come. I would have loved if he could have brought some property as bad as you talk about Detroit with no apology. Call it all kind of raggedy. And Demetria laughing. Never forget, Moni, listen, I was laughing because of how he said it. Everybody got caught off guard, but how he said it. In all fairness, you did say that it could cost $3,000 to $5,000 for dinner. And so just the way he said it. So it wasn't, a dig at Detroit. I've never been to Detroit, so I don't know anything about it, but it wasn't to, laughing because we're thinking it's crappy. It was just how Donovan said it. Honeydew says, when you start to understand Black psychology through white eyes, you are in absolute trouble. And and Moni says, well, she made her history. Now she can move on. Sometimes it'll take her, like her. And, okay, so I was talking about Betty White. And Sunlight says, from what I've read, I've seen, Marcel is not pushing an LGBTQ agenda. He's pushing a Black agenda. I'm gonna have to check him out.
Okay, but here's the thing. There's a lot of people that might be LGBTQ, and this is how politics works for them. They do that initially so they can get regular people's votes. Because let's face it, a lot of people aren't going to vote for a person because they might be gay or they might be Black or whatever. They do that. But once they get into office, what do they represent? LGBTQ. Especially if they are LGBTQ. That's just how it works. How many Alana Presley, the progressives, what's that chick that was from Missouri? Her name?
Cori Bush?
Yeah, Cori Bush. LGBTQ. That's the first thing they talk about. But you don't represent the LGBTQ, but that's, you know what I mean? That's just how it works. They go under some BS like, oh no, I'm not pushing that, whatever. But the minute they get elected and they get in there, what are they representing? LGBTQ.
Thunder says the midterms are coming and the Dems are running scared. They know that they are seriously in trouble with the Black vote. Hold the vote. Say it again. And Yahweh, how you doing? It says Yahweh Bahasha Yahawashi. How you doing? It says Shalom, Shalom, Sister K. Yes, indeed. And thank you so much for being here. Happy New Year to you. And Honeydew, I know what you meant. You said Henry, but I know you meant Henry. And Pamela, how are you doing? It says here in California, we have problems with the government and politics, as with everywhere, right? And the Pioneer said, Brother Don, China owning the U.S. Treasury bonds and debts is just like the Federal Reserve, a Ponzi scheme designed to distract you and confuse you over who is in charge. White folks still run it.
Well, the white folks run it, but they're deadbeats. They have no intentions of paying that debt. That is why they keep threatening and asking more military dollars. Like I said, they're taking dollars. And Eisenhower said this years ago, for every dollar that is spent on defense, you're stealing money from a school and children and the community that could use it for the betterment of the community. But no, they're giving all this money. They're making these false narratives in regards to the United States. That's why they keep, how do you say it? If you don't want to pay your debts, they eventually want to foreclose, right? Why do you think the United States right now is building up its forces in the East, in the middle, and not the Middle East, but in the East, Asia?
And I'm just going to skip to some of these other comments. And Yahweh says, this is not our sleep. And Pioneer says, plus a lot of people get mad over things that don't bother me. I can't understand why it gets it's so emotional, like the football or basketball teams or their city losing and going, they go crazy. I don't get it either.
Did Marla Gibbs die?
I don't think so.
Tanaya Smith says, can we honor Marla Gibbs? Okay, we like Betty.
No, I think she's saying because she's, roughly been around as long. Yeah. And Sunlight says road rage guilty. Yeah, we got to get that under control because like I said, in Houston, really, they be following people home and shooting them up and like.
And you really got to think about it now, the Carl Rittenauer case. Somebody could follow you home in a road rage incident, shoot you, and then claim self-defense.
Yeah, we just really got to ask ourselves, what is it? What did it do something to me that they cut me off or whatever? Yeah, it's annoying, but I think we should be striving for peace always. And if it didn't kill you or do something to you, then let it go. Really, because we hear about people getting shot up on the freeway and stuff all the time. It'd be over somebody cutting somebody off. And Pamela says, you love your cats and dogs. That's great, Donovan. And Tanaya says, can we honor Marla Gibbs? Yeah, we should honor Marla Gibbs while she is still here. So I agree with that. And Olivia says it's probably Donovan's fault. I agree. Marty says, well, I hope that you will allow me to put the year of the tiger forecast for you is going to be a water tiger. The very things that so many of us whine about, a blow up, secrets exposed. Oh, and Charles says, talk about not supporting Ben Crump. Yeah, Ben Crump is all over the place. Right now, he is supporting, representing the family of Valentina Peralta, the 14-year-old that was shot at Burlington Coat Factory in North Hollywood by the Black police officer. And
Ben Crump is collecting them checks.
Yeah, so he's all over the place. But yeah, Cortez says a shout out to Detroit. So you're talking to, he says, love at Moni and Donovan. I understand what you meant. And Meta Simpleox, she said, President Reagan was an actor and a leader. Yeah, depends on who you ask. Kubler says, when should Black individuals walk away from the idea of saving the entire race? Well, Marcus Garvey told us to do that long over 100 years ago at this point. You ain't gonna save everybody, leave them behind, but like we should already be there, right? I'm not saying like we hate them, but they're because see, to your point, Kugler, we spend too much time trying to convince people who do not want to be convinced. Leave them where they are and keep it pushing. And one who cares says Corey Bush. I think he says I think I don't know what that means, but is she LGBTQ? Is she? I didn't know that.
No, she's a big homeless advocate, but
yeah, I know that.
She's also, she got a lot of her money from the LGBTQ community.
Got it. Sunlight says, yes, we have no way to determine of what that we have to go off their campaign agenda and check his paperwork. Marcel wasn't brought to us by the Dems. Okay. And Moni says, if the Chinese government started investing all of a sudden in Black people, their communities, loaning them money, you would be quick. Does she push back from WF if they stepped up against it? You mean, I think you meant white supremacy? Is that what you meant? And then Yahweh says, Happy New Year, Sister K. Yes, indeed. And Charles says, voting time, they will give us $300 before the polls open. Laugh out loud. Hey, they might. And Moni says, if it's a situation where they made a condition that either you're going to give Black people protection for the police officers, give them reparations, or don't send your products here, pay us our money back. And I don't know what this is. Let me just delete it, though.
Block game is strong.
Some spam. And Sunlight says, Val Demings, Andrew Gillum, handpicked by the Dems for us. Yeah, and they ain't no good for Black people. And Thunder says, let's follow Dr. Claude Anderson, A.G. Gaston, and Reginald Lewis examples and focus on your money and start building our community with our community, our neighborhoods. But first, let's build up our Black families. We got to start there first. We don't start there first, and we start there and by stop the divisiveness between Black men and Black women. That's where we need to start. And Moni, are you mad at me and Donovan?
Yeah, wait, why is she mad at me? Why is everybody mad at me? I didn't say nothing.
I don't know. We need to get the new year. Maybe we need a do-over. I don't know. Olivia says they represent for the groups that they receive more money from, just like LGBTQ community gave money for Obama. And look what happened. Unisex restrooms, gay marriages, etc.
And yeah, gays in the military, so on and so forth.
And Warrior Scholar says there's a relatively recent case of a hit and run, I think, in Florida, and the guy followed the lady home and she pulled out a gun and he pulled out his and killed her. It was a legitimate self-defense. Yeah, some road rage. Just like, come on, y'all. Let's really think this through, right? And Gilberto says, Demetria and Donovan, I also consider myself a Democrat the past 34 years. However, when I started watching Phil, Demetria, Vicky, Lioness Crown, my entire narrative has changed. #independent. Yes, indeed. Don't let them assume our vote. Make them work for our vote and actually give us something for it. So absolutely. And Meta Symbolics, you say, Donovan said that only Black people see actors and leaders as leaders. It's not true.
Okay, show me another group that, I'll give you a good example. Robin Williams says that the president should do this and the government should be doing that. Show me where white people look at Robin Williams and say, yeah, Robin. No, they don't. He's a comedian. They don't take him seriously. We are the only group that looks at entertainers and athletes as leaders. We're the only group that does it. Show me another group that does it.
Well, I guess I get where they're saying white people do it too, but theirs is kind of here and there. You got your Ted Nugents and
but they don't look at them as leaders. Yeah, these people have an opinion. Nobody says they can't have an opinion. They don't look at them as leaders.
They're influential.
Right. That's influence. We're not talking about, we're talking about like leaders. Jim Brown is not an elected leader. White people don't. We're the only group that does that. Asians don't look at Bruce Lee as a leader. They don't do that. We're the only group that does it.
But our leaders are given to us. and they're not given to us by us, if that makes any sense.
Right. I agree with that statement. But in whole, we do not, other groups do not look at entertainers as somebody to take seriously. Cardi B says something, people are like, oh, wow, she said something very important. Black people, Mr. President, black people just want to be liked and respected. Yeah. You have you have a candidate sitting in front of you as a guest, and the one thing you tell him that black people, we only want to be loved and respected. Okay.
And Honeydew says, I'm not a fan of Cori Bush either. She says either she should have used her nursing license to join politics at state level, healthcare reform, or public health for Missouri if she was really black first. And let's see here. Gavetta says, Demetra, our mother is the same way. When me and my sister go and visit, we have road rage too. People just don't pay attention. However, those that live in Georgia will understand why. Laugh out loud. Yeah, I mean, my thing is just to let it go so you can live, because you don't know what kind of food you're dealing with, And Honeydew says those are major nurse jobs that can create change at a state level, but no, she wants the public stage. Yep. And she does put on a lot of theatrics, if you ask me. And Moni says, Donovan, I understand that. I just know that when Brother Malcolm wanted to bring out the racism that was happening in the U.S., they wound up killing him. Let's be clear. We know the snakes did it. And Yahweh says reparations is not on their agenda. Nope. And Sunlight says, Demetra K, some ground rules might be a good idea. Just a suggestion. Yeah, I think we may do that, and we can come up with those together. How about that? So that way it's not just coming from me. We can come up with that together. I try to keep it loose here. I mean, sometimes people get upset. Hopefully Robin will come back. If y'all see her around, tell her to please bring her beautiful self back here. And let's see here. Yahweh says, what's up, Donovan? Happy New Year. And Madison Pollock, she said, Ronald Reagan was an actor.
Okay, yeah, okay, wait. And I know where they're going with that when they're saying he's an actor. Of course, that's how he started his profession. But before he was an actor, he was president of the Actors Guild for a limited time. He was a 2-time governor of California. So that's like saying so-and-so was a football player, got hurt, and then got into politics. Yeah, he was a football player. That's true. But Ronald Reagan was a politician. That was his profession after acting. He became a politician. He wasn't a Richard Pryor still being an entertainer and people taking him seriously. This man was the president of the United States.
Arnold Schwarzenegger. But anyway, Kubler says,
but he became a governor. That's what I'm saying. He occupied the position. That's what I'm saying. You could blur it all you want. What I'm saying is, yes, Arnold Schwarzenegger was an actor. He got elected to become a governor, and he did that and went back to acting. That's fine. But as a governor, he had to govern accordingly. That's all I'm saying. We try to blur these lines.
And he was horrible, by the way.
Horrible. Ronald Reagan was horrible. Matter of fact, people said all 8 years he was acting.
And Kubler says, I'm currently in the process of walking away from my family. Oh, no. He says, I married into an episode of the damn Steve Wilkos show. Damn. Steve Wilkos, he was Jerry Springer's security, I guess. Wow. I hate to hear that. Maybe next time around, we could talk about family issues and how we can figure out how to get along. It says, my stepdaughter moved to Mississippi, began dating a guy. And after 3 months, they found out they're cousins. Her family is okay. This relationship, because they didn't grow up together. He's a good dad to her kids. Okay.
Wait. And don't everybody, please do not take this out of context. That isn't unusual in the South. I mean, were they like distant cousins or something like that? Because I have a cousin that married somebody that had the same last name, but they're distant.
Yeah, I guess that is kind of prevalent out this way. And in the South, people marry their cousins. I don't know. I'm from California, and we kind of like, ew. But again, this, per the region, I guess that might be normal. But I'm sorry that you're having an episode of the Steve Wilkos show. Sunlight says, who are these people that our group looks at as leaders? Serious question. Let me get to the rest of these comments, and Donna, maybe you can answer her in the comment section. And Madison Pollock said Ronald Reagan was voted president. Kubler says, which is actually his second cousin. Okay, so I mean, to me, that's still pretty close, to be trying to be in a relationship with. I couldn't imagine being in a relationship with any of my cousins. Somebody says, what the hell? I asked you not to do that again. You also say nobody took Cardi B seriously. I think you're hallucinating, Donovan. JD says, I love how Donovan imitates females. You are making me laugh. He has missed his calling. And Mona says, Demetri, I hope you have this year more shows that deal about skin care and cooking. Thank you for making it fun. You can please tell me how to get my videos where they're on the format. Okay, we will work on that, getting you on here in the next couple of weeks, hopefully sooner than later. Madison Paul says, shaking my head, and Moni says, and okay, I see what you're saying. And Nikki says Cardi B has no business even talking for us in the first place, and ain't she Latin? Yeah, but they go to her as a spokesperson. In fact, they went to her twice. So Pioneer says, sorry, I haven't seen the past 20 minutes of the show. I was busy dealing with my roommates and handling business. Well, I hope all is well over there. And Gilberto says, my question, can we as Black first come together to get to the reparation that is due for all of the suffering that we continue to go through? Yeah, if we did it, we would get it like that, but we won't.
Right, Gilberto, we had a Black president. If he wouldn't do it.
Right. And Pioneer says, in case you sign out before I get back to the chat, great show, Queen and King. Well, thank you. Hopefully everything's going okay over there where you are. Sunlight says, is that emotional? Laugh out loud. And Pamela says, exactly right about Arnold Schwarzenegger. And Mona says, why would we have to hate on Kamala when Demetri is like complexion myself, and my cousin Shay is very much so light. I think he meant light complexion with a big behind, small waist, small back. How you doing? Really?
I've been waiting for these pictures. I haven't seen nothing yet in my inbox.
I'm gonna let y'all work that on out. And Olivia says, it wasn't done on purpose, Donovan. And hell no, that is not normal down south. I've heard a lot about people getting with their cousins in the South, so I don't know.
Yeah, a real quick story. I come from two big families, right? Do you guys realize how many double cousins I have down there that are dealing
double cousins?
Double cousins. I have a gang of them. And I'm not saying anything bad. What I'm saying is, I've heard, where I'm from, it's distant cousins are getting married, and and that's because we don't move out of the towns and we don't know. I don't know, but it's not prevalent.
I don't know. Yeah, Gilberto says, Donovan, you sound like you watch Downton Abbey. Laugh out loud.
Yeah, I do watch that every now and then.
Yeah, Howard says Esau is losing his kingdom finally. And Olivia says that is normal in white families. Yes, I've heard some Black people talk about they with their cousins, and and I mean I've heard of it, and I know people who date their cousins and end up with their cousins. So I don't know. I could never do it. Would never even cross my mind. And Sunlight says among white people, inbreeding is not a Black thing. Yes,
right. But and I agree with everything everybody's saying. But as we're in the modern age, it is becoming more and more prevalent within our community, especially with these younger kids that are so damn confused. It is. That's why you see women giving up on men and dating women. I mean, how do you do that? That's how confusing we were getting.
And Donovan said, just blame Donovan. Shit. Yahweh says the Mzungu is losing word up. And Moni says, when God puts a behind whooping on you, Demetri, it can last 600 years. And this demonic demon is getting their behind whoop. Look at the climate that is happening now. And you have ever seen this before. You're absolutely right. People all over the country in places, like I said, you've never heard of before are going through it. It's the white upper echelon of society. Houses are sliding off the hills and getting burnt up and all of that. So I 100% agree with you. The time has come. Sunlight says Jay-Z and Beyonce. I don't know what people those are because I see them dragged all the time. Yeah,
well,
especially
I'll give a good example when Jay-Z, when Colin Kaepernick was making a legitimate stand, Jay-Z stepped in and made money off of that, dealing with the Mzungu and doing all of that stuff. And everybody's like, oh yeah, Jay-Z's going to do all this stuff and he's going to negotiate and stuff like that. And all he did was negotiate more money for himself.
Yep, became richer. And Moni says, okay, Donovan, I'm now disappointed you didn't really come. I would love to see you got a chance to look at all of it, so you can see how they really have built up downtown Detroit, but nothing in the neighborhood. I think
in the hood.
In the
Moni,
hood.
Moni, if I come to Detroit, the first thing, I won't even have time to see downtown Detroit, because I will be in your place having that nice, smooth chocolate wine.
Let's see something. Yes, Tanaya, thank you so much for that donation. It is greatly appreciated. Thank you.
All right, can I get my $20 you owe me? Can I get my $20?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And let's see here.
You're on Olivia.
Olivia says, no, it's not normal. It's truly not. I mean, I don't know. I'm from the West Coast.
Now, okay. Well, let me ask you this, since you're from the West Coast. You've been to Houston for over a year. Have you noticed anything, or know of like maybe a cousin, or maybe people are hated or something?
I don't hang out like that, so I wouldn't know if people, doing it with their cousin or not. I don't know. No, I haven't seen it, so I don't know. I just know I ain't doing it. And Moni says no, but I want us to have a big numbers, kind of like some of the other sisters that they hate on everything and everybody and have their demonic views on other YouTube channels. You guys bring it fun. Well, thank you. And Cortez, damn, Robin really left. I don't know. If y'all see Robin, tell
Robin
her
will be back next week. She's a dedicated supporter. She's just dedicated, and she probably went to go watch the Black Authority.
Okay, cool. And Pamela says the Cowboys lost the game. Donovan, have a great week. And Yahweh says inbreeding is foul and wicked. Honeydew says Robin's cool, she'll be back. I hope so. Tell her we love her and we don't know what to do without her. And Gavetta says, Donovan, I'm viewing Downton Abbey now. And when I heard them say the oldest girl Mary was going to marry her cousin, I had to rewind. I said, dang, you two be doing this for white people rather been doing this for centuries. Laugh out loud.
Oh yeah. Wait, why do you think English people's teeth are so bad? The inbreeding that has genetically been proven, that it's the inbreeding in their culture.
So like says, yeah, I remember bozos like DJ Academics and Embro backing Jay, but grassroots knew he wasn't legit before the deal even went down. Yeah, we called it. It's like that's all about him. Well, we're past kneeling. It's like, well, when did you ever kneel? And Cortez says entertainers have brains too. They don't have opinions too. But I get it, and don't come for me. I was just giving my opinion.
Yeah, no, and that's what I'm saying. It's okay to give your opinion as an entertainer. You have every right to do that. But again, white people don't look at entertainers unless they've been elected to office to represent or talk for them. They don't. They just like, okay, that's great, but you don't mean anything.
Got it. And the last comment, Moni says, no, I see I see on the Queen Amadeus Shakur's channel, she be having for 500, and she's not nearly as gorgeous as Demetra Never, not nearly as educated, not nearly as classy, but I have a lot of people. Well, I have to check her out. I never even heard of her before to see what she's talking about.
A game.
Shut up. I mean, some people, I'm not for everybody, and vice versa. People like what they like, right? Like I like watching documentaries, and a lot of people don't. I'll usually end up watching them by myself. And Jonelle says, may your 2022 be awareness, blessings, love, empowerment, and Allah, God, peace. Peace, fam. Yes.
Real quick, before we go, we want to thank you guys for tuning in with us. I'm sorry I was late again. Demetra, before we close this out, what is one of your 2022 resolutions?
Oh, wow. My only resolution, and I thought about this a while back, is to love more. Now, I know that sounds kind of corny, because most of the time when we think about resolutions, we think of these grand things we're going to do, right? I'm going to lose 50 pounds. I'm going to do that anyway, not 50 pounds, but I'm, working on my fitness always. So it doesn't have to be New Year. But for me, it's to love more and to love myself more. That means I'm going to love you more, and I'm going to love everybody else more, because we don't take the time to really love ourselves and really get to know ourselves. Like, I've even gotten in a habit of hugging myself. And you know what's weird? It works. Like sometimes I'm not feeling so hot about certain things, and I just give myself a hug, and it just seems like it just seems to be so much better, because you guys think about it as humans. How often do we get touched by, I'm talking about in a good way now, y'all keep your mind out the gutter. How often do we get touched by other people, affectionately? How often, I'm here, really a lot by myself. So I don't really get that. And so sometimes I just give myself a hug just to say, you were loved and all of that. So that's what I plan on doing. I plan on loving myself more so that I can be a more of a lovable person. And so I can give that, because I can't give what I don't have. So that's what I'm going to be working on. What about you, Donovan?
Well, I'm going to work my way. I make a resolution to work my way back to the Dominican Republic. I got to get back to the Dominican Republic. That's what I'm going to do. No, and I'm really going to do my best to educate people in how they vote, because you guys believe this or not, my mom, after putting up with my shenanigans and stuff, she has registered as an independent after being a longtime Democrat. So, she does, not saying that she does realize, but, if you just keep talking the points and the facts, you can't fight the facts and the numbers. They don't lie. And so my mom was like, yeah, how can I continue to defend something that's undefendable? So I'm going to do that and learn better to, Demetra tells me all the time, delivery is everything.
Yes, indeed. And so I'm going to read the rest of these comments before we get out of here. And Olivia says, some words that go by, believe none of what you hear and only half of what you see. It becomes a developmental problem when you have kids with family members. I would think so. And Cece says, why are you hating on Amadia? I hope I said that right. Dang, I'm not hating on. I don't even know who she is. I think you meant Donovan, one of his other imitations. And Honeydew says, I have a personal public service announcement. Be nice to your home care nurses. Just because we are paid surviving wages doesn't mean we deserve the abuse. We do not have to come to your home. And I'm talking to my Black people. And that is so sad. I mean, you got people coming into your home to help you. You don't have to go in the hospital and you're rude and evil and mean. You're absolutely right. But when they stop coming, then they're going to be like, well, what happened to my nurse? Well, you ran them off. And CC said, yes, but I love Demetra. I love you too. And Olivia says, Happy New Year to everyone. By the way, and Gavetta says, thank you, Demetra and Donovan and Black First Family for the conversation. Love learning, living, and having a great conversation. And we love it, and you too. And Yahweh says, peace and blessings, Sister K. Same to you. And Donovan says, Moni, please leave a link so we can tune into your podcast. So if you can do that. And Cortez, it's true down south. I'm from the south. It's true. Gavetta says, Donovan and Demetra have peace in my space. Yes, indeed, you got to. And Sunlight says, especially if you don't have friends and family. Yeah, I mean, I don't, I'm away from my friends and family. My little nieces and nephews, they like to give little hugs and kisses. And so I have to hug myself right now. And let's see here. Where did I go? Anyhow, it says, peace and blessings, Donovan. And you say, stay in the gospel. And Sunlight says, peace and love, family. Have a great week. And you do the same, Sunlight. And always thank you for your contributions.
Yes, I was good this week. I was good. But people still blame me.
We're just used to it. That's not going to change in 2022. Olivia says the reason why people would assume that whole getting involved with family goes back to slavery and how our people claimed each other as family being under the same master. And okay. And let's see, I'm just going to skip down to the bottom because I see you answered, Moni. And Olivia says having to take on the same last names. And Pamela says, have a great week, Demetra and Donovan. You guys do the same. So we're going to get out of here again. Thank you, everybody, for who donated to the channel and who are members. If you would want to become a member, you could do that. We also have a PayPal, Cash App, and a Venmo. If you want to donate to the channel, we love and appreciate you. We will be back. I'm saying Sunday. We might be back one day during the week to talk about certain things. I don't know. But until then, we will be back here on Sunday. You guys be good, stay safe, and stay warm because I know it's cold out there. And stay out of the way of the Rona because it is kicking ass and taking names. So we love you guys, and we'll see you later. Peace.